Welcome back, Kazna or Wombats. We're here to find out. But before we go into too much details, we need to have a look at these teams and find out what they're all about. So let's have a look at those Wombats.
Highlight was our match against Oops, where Berknake managed to win 1-3, I guess, and made over 5,000 damage. Actually, we are not quite happy with our performance. It's satisfactory, but not happy. What could have gone better? I guess we could avoid our loss against Synergy and take first place in the online part. The most underestimated tank in the season, I guess it's Mouse. It's a very heavy tank, it's very difficult to penetrate. I guess it will be used more often. Our favorite tank of the season is Object 140. It's the most versatile tank, and it basically can be used on any map. Why do I think we will win? Because we prepared really hard for this offline finals, and I guess we just show our best. As you know, we won the first season, and winning the second season will mean for us that we are still on the top of our game, that we are still the best, and we'll try to prove it.
Satisfied but not first place. Well, that's online, this is offline, and they do have that chance. But let's first of all introduce our new face on the... You might notice that Dead Zone has changed shape and changed beard and changed nationality. Hector from the community team, hello, sir.
Hi there.
Well, what brings you here today? Esports, it's not your thing, is it?
Kind of here from the wargaming side of things to help commentate for maybe the players who are not so familiar with esports. Try and draw more community viewers in and just generally give a different opinion from perhaps the pro players.
All right. Well, what is your opinion on Wombats?
Wombats, they're the team to beat really right now. I mean, they have a bit of history with Kazna. The two of them last time going head to head was a good 9-match thriller. So certainly this is the hyped match so far. So definitely looking forward to it.
Absolutely. But Mojo, what's your professional opinion about Wombats?
They're definitely a team that's as old as this league. They've been here forever. They play together forever, and they struggled a bit before, but they're back on. They won last season, and this season they were second for 1 point. That doesn't matter. But this will be, in my eyes, really nice match.
Right, and Melly?
Yes, I mean, the match to watch on this finals, if you ask me. And it's kind of sad to let one of these teams go while heading to the finals, because one of them has to stay out of it. Yeah, the voting is already opened, and people at home are already voting. And currently it's 62 for Kazna crew. So get involved, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU. The community bonus strikes again, of course. But yes, I mean, a very well-known team, but so is Wombats. So maybe this vote gives us a hint in what direction this match could actually go.
Absolutely. But for those who don't know who the Kazna crew are and maybe only know Mojo here, let's find out what they're all about.
As we started that good into the season in the first half with top 1, it was quite disappointing to lose that much in the second half. But after the playoffs, I'm really happy with our performance. The most underrated tank this season is the Chinese heavy tank 113 because it's fast as a medium and has awesome DPM. My favorite tank this season is the Leopard 1 because it's really fast and has a great gun, but as a team we really need the FV on all the heavy maps. Playing Wombats in the first semi-final will be really hard, but after our recent results we're really confident that we can beat them. We'll win the league because we are the strongest team on LAN and we'll show the Russians why we are the European champions. After our really good first half of the season, we were struggling quite a bit, but having overcome that season, we are ready to rock now.
I'm fighting back the tears. Those are the Kazna crew. Right, guys, what can you tell? Well, first of all, we won't go to Mojo because he knows too much about these guys, being part of the actual clan themselves. But Hector, the Kazna crew, what's the community's opinion on those?
Kazna crew, they're like, these guys are loved by pretty much everyone. They've been a team that's been around for quite a while. They've got a really good reputation. Players love them. They've got a good mix of players from different nationalities as well. So they attract in a lot of fans from different countries as well. You've got Eurofish from Finland, and it's the embracing the uli, as they would say.
It is. It's really multinational. They have people from everywhere. Germany and Finland are two notorious, but they have a Polish player. They are literally from everywhere, aren't they,
Finnish,
Mojo?
Sweden,
Sweden?
and Bosnian, Croatian,
Bosnian,
Serbian.
Croatian.
Half
You
Turk.
name it, they got it.
Yeah, so this guy are a true European team in the sense that they have a guy from everywhere, apart from England. There's no one from England.
I wonder why.
Hey!
I heard you're good sailors, though.
No, actually, that's just a myth. I've never been on a boat. That's so shameful. Melly, what do you think of these guys?
I mean, Kazna crew, it's always great fun having them on the offline finals. A very, very nice team and awesome persons all through and through. And it's always like a bonus to every event that they attend. And I don't know why, but they seem always so happy to be there and yeah, bursting of joy. I don't know. You probably get what I mean.
Absolutely, these guys are full of energy, but let's stop gushing over them and start going into the stats. Let's start talking about their performance. Let's start talking head-to-head. So now they're going against them. We said already they went up to the 9th game last time these two are faced. Wombats versus Kazna is going to be a crazy game. So Mojo, take us the strengths of each team. Let's put them against each other.
There is a really old and huge rivalry here, even from the older stages of the league. And I believe the final blow was in Sofia when Kazna unexpectedly completely won over Virtus. Everyone was shocked, even Kazna guys, Virtus especially, because they were expecting, oh, we came here to play GGVP. No, you didn't. You lost. And, well, at grand finals, Virtus lost early, and Kazna allowed themselves to get beaten by even an enemy who is not that good because of their emotional approach to the game. And we know that happens. But they matured. We saw now in the relegation, in pre-playoffs, they actually were losing 3-0 to Oops, and they came back great. That is something completely new for them. That means they matured, they stabilized, they have really aggressive play, inventive tactics now. And this will be a match because Virtus genuinely doesn't create that kind of tactics. They more or less play cautiously, let's say. And this will be a huge clash between skill and desire, I would even say.
And just in case anyone's confused, the Wombats are the Virtus Pro. They used to be Virtus Pro back in last season, but they've changed names recently. So the Wombats were the same guys. And hold on, we've got something over there.
Yes, I mean, I already talked about the offline sweepstake we also have. This is made by Carly. You might know her, and this should work as an example. This one is pretty cool. We rock, you know. She has to explain to me, but maybe you guys got it. And yes, it says Wombats on tanks next 5 rounds, which is pretty nice. Well, this she had to add afterwards, sadly. The don't ding, don't ding.
Wow, those are really nice drawings, actually.
And Warzone. Kazna crew Warzone.
Right.
Yeah, don't think that could actually work for all teams.
So what are we expecting, everybody? Let's say our opinions of this matchup. Let's try and give a prediction. Everyone else at home are giving their predictions. They're getting involved. Let's get involved ourselves. I reckon it's going to go 5-4 again, and I'm just going to go with Kazna crew because I don't know any better. But you guys, what do you think?
I'm hoping for 5-4 as well. I want to see a good trade between both teams. I want to see it go all the way in some unexpected tactics. The Wombats are going to, like Mojo was saying, they're going to go with the kind of standard, kind of predictable plays, and hopefully Kazna can pull something out of the bag and go with some crazy unexpected tactics and just kind of throw them.
Well, we got to pick a side of the fence. We got to get your opinion here.
Kazna for me. Heart and head says Kazna.
All right, Mojo.
You're putting me in bed.
You have to do it. You're here on the desk. You have to do it.
Well, my guess is like 5-3, and I will go with Kazna here, not to tiebreaker.
Melly.
I mean, they already done it, and why not doing it again, right? So 5-4, hopefully. I want to see the full distance and the deciding map, and I will curse them. I feel it, but I think it's going to be Kazna crew.
Hashtag WGLEU. Tell us what you think. Get involved
I'm so
on
sorry.
the main vote. Tell us what you think. And it's not closed yet. You still have a chance, but not much time remains as we are pretty much ready to go. So let's stop speculating what we think. You guys start telling us what you think. Is it Kazna? Is it Wombats? Let's get some Uber shouts and some laughter going on the main stage.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is probably our quintessential hyped matchup of the day, and a very, very important one if they weren't already all important. Kazna Crew versus Wombats on Tanks, two teams that actually recently have already, taken to the battlefield against each other. It was a very close game, though.
It was unbelievably close. I think probably the closest game we saw all season. And it was, of course, Wombats to win on Prokhorovka, and it was a really weird game, actually. We thought Kazna were actually the better team throughout. You know, they kind of had a few weird tactics. They gave away huge advantages in some of those rounds, but at least that last one, they were like 3,000 hit points ahead. I think they even got one of the tanks down for Wombats, and they still managed to lose. And for me, that's the biggest thing Kazna Crew has to overcome if they want to beat Wombats. They can't give away huge advantages. Like if they kill, for instance, Breakneck, they can't then go on to lose the match, you know?
Yeah. Literally blew my mind. Kazna Crew were 2-0 on Prokhorovka in that series. The tiebreaker map was Prokhorovka, and somehow they managed to stuff it up. I wasn't even sure how that was possible. Yeah. We were shaking our heads in dismay. We could see that the Wombats are just chilling. I think that's Povel actually there in the middle, just laying back. No, that's Povel. Oh, no, it's Nexus, sorry. I think Povel's just got his chair reclined and is waiting for the game. So I didn't understand that. I mean, they played Mravanka, I think, as well. Last time around. But yeah, the Wombats and Tanks looked very, very good on Mines. That was really where they were strong here. And I think the map pool's already sort of been discussed, but we can say it again. It's going to be Prokhorovka to start, Steps, Cliff, then Mines. So Kazna Crew, to be fair, should be coming out of the gate strong here, Oliver.
Yeah, I think when they play against Wombats and Prokhorovka, I mean, it's a pretty close match, but I think Wombats were probably better on that one, right? I mean, they had the better results on it, but and Kazna Crew, at least at the end of the season, definitely struggled. Mines, I think, maybe the only other team in the league which is better than Kazna Crew at Mines is Wombats, again with a 2-0. But, I mean, it's anyone's game. It's LAN. Wombats and Kazna Crew equally experienced on this setting on the stage, and I think it's going to be much about, I think, Kazna Crew having those tactics which can obviously beat Wombats. You know, really unusual tactics. It's surprising, fast, aggressive, but also having the stability throughout the 10-minute match to just go and win, you know, win the exchanges, win the firefights, and not throw away at the last minute. I think for Wombats, you know, they'd never, not a single season finals, have surprised us with a tactic, really. Like, I mean, there's been some interesting ones for sure, but they're still one of those teams that always trains against, you know, your Navis, your Hellraisers, NSS, Tornado, if they weren't in this position, obviously going for first place as well. So their tactics are pretty limited to more standard stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe the downside of being a super consistent team, Oliver, is that you're always going to kind of bring something expected here. And Kazna Crew as well, we saw them really have to make a bit of a resurgence. Mid-season, we look at okay, then the break came around. After that break, they really started to fall off, lost a lot of games that they shouldn't have lost. And to be fair, they just got themselves here. And we always said, this is the problem with Kazna. This is why we didn't see them in Season 1. It's that online qualifiers are a struggle for them. When you get them together, it's like an episode of the Power Rangers where they all just make the massive Power Rangers suit and they're all parting an arm and a leg. That's when they get things going. I don't know if it was Power Rangers. I don't even know. It was some TV show. Point is, they can't do that online. They get frustrated. Communication's not quite there. They don't have the guy next to them. They can't slap him in the back of the head and say, what are you doing? Here it's a different story. They thrive off the energy. They thrive off the atmosphere. They thrive off the proximity of their teammates. And Vetso as well, bringing his lucky poker chip. We saw that at the World Finals. Prokhorovka is going to be the one to kick us off here. Triple 113 for Kazna Crew.
Yeah, they mentioned in that pre-team video, pre-match video, that actually the 113 is one of Kazna Crew's favorite tanks. And we've seen it being picked out a lot for them, of course, in 9.13, which was like just maybe a third of the way into the season when it was actually buffed with the DPM. The 113 being brought out more by Kazna. They're the only team who really consistently brings it. We saw, for instance, the last match, of course, Ding brought against Tornado Rocks, but a great tank. Obviously, the only weakness being it's pretty vulnerable. I mean, you can get your modules and your crew taken out real quick. even 2 shells can knock one out. You can repair one, and then the next shell will come in, and you've lost your drive, you lost your gunner again, and it can cause all sorts of issues. Of course, we had that Shocker Desha clutch, which heavily favored Desha because the gunner was out, the gun was out. So I have to see. I mean, my prediction, 5-3, I think is, I don't know, I think it's going to be a tiebreaker. I mean, 5-4 would be what is logical to say between these two teams, because that's what it's been in the past. They got a lot of experience against each other. They're both really good on land.
I think if Wombats pick up a round on Prokhorovka, I think it could be a 5-3. And I'd actually say that Wombats might come out on top. Steps is typically a horrendous map for Kazna Crew. Cliff went 1-1 between these two guys last time, and Mines was won both rounds by Wombats and Tanks here. I mean, and just some stats for you guys as well. I mean, Wombats and Tanks have a 60% win rate on Steps. They're undefeated on the defensive side of Cliff, and they've only lost 2 rounds on Mines this season. Whereas Kazna Crew, they've got a 0% win rate on the attacking side of Steps, and they've only played like 4 times. They're not experienced at this map. They couldn't get rid of it, but that being said, they are also undefeated on the defensive side of Cliff here as well. So that one, they won't be too scared to go into that one, but it's going to be very much back and forth. Proc needs to be a strong start from Kazna. That's a key to victory for them. Get 2 rounds there, and they'll set themselves in good stead. But you're up against the Wombats here, and they're not going to mess around, but we've seen it happen online. Let's see if it can be replicated in a LAN environment. See Karitz there keeping himself warm. I saw Kusok, in fact, bit of a scarf on the man as well.
Karitz always wears that jumper every single LAN event, basically.
It's his lucky jumper. It's like a
Betts has got the polo check. I'm not sure about the turtleneck. I always get abused for wearing turtlenecks. I stopped wearing them now.
I think, yeah, well, we got some good photos of you in a turtleneck, man. You see, Coca-Cola maybe needs to drink some of it himself. This guy is hardly awake right now.
Yeah, I mean,
just maybe he could either be a low-energy individual.
He's a gamer.
Or
it's only 10-3. I mean, it's pretty early days for these guys.
Well, some gamers aren't even up by now, so who knows?
But the thing is, I mean, Coca-Cola, second highest damage dealer, good segue there, from Wombats, just behind Breakneck. So he's actually been an absolute beast this season. He's been fantastic. And, you know, a guy who's been in, you know, the team for a couple of seasons, but not all that experience, you know, not like your Just Cause, your Kusoks. Karitz has even been in longer than him. So it's fantastic to see. And it's like we can draw comparisons between him and Stefan. Stefan from Wusa, or, you know, fondly named Lusa, coming over towards the team. And he's been the best player by an absolute mile. Not just in Kazna Crew, he's the highest damage dealer, full stop, in the whole league for Season 2. Full stop. 180,000 damage he's done. So far ahead so far ahead of everyone else. It's just fantastic. I mean, you know, if he doesn't have a good performance, it will spell disaster for that team, I think.
No doubt about it. Kusok collecting phones here as the guys do get themselves ready. I mean, you say that, but of course the second highest damage dealer in the league is on the other side of things. It's Breakneck, of course, who's just had a consistently very, very, very good season. So this is really just the quintessential fireworks explosive match that we've been looking for. I mean, there's no better story. Last time these guys went head-to-head, it was a tiebreaker. In Sofia, it was Kazna Crew to get ahead of them as well. There is no shortage of love lost, and maybe no shortage, of course, of rivalry between these two. I think the closest these two teams ever got was Vetso and Kusok having to play on the same computer at our last media day. So
they lost miserably as well.
Yeah, they got wrecked. So maybe that synergy not quite there. But Hyber, the man on your screen. See if he can
hit a shot this match.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
With Eurofish, of course, just in behind. No, I you know, they were like, oh, why are you always saying these things about us? You know, I like some of the shots they miss is the reason why they lose. I mean, we saw, for instance, in the first half of the season, Kazna Crew like right at the top of that league table, and then in the second half, they lose to Ding, and then just tank it all the way down to 6th place. And they basically maintained that until obviously gone to pre-playoffs. 1 point separated them between them and Utopia. So, I mean, Kazna Crew really do leave it to the last seconds, but Pentasports were in exactly the same position in Season 1, and they went on to take 2nd place against Wombats. So, you know, being the underdog is not always a bad thing. In fact, it's probably a pretty good thing often.
No, I think the teams would favour that indeed. But Hyber, obviously, who was on the screen before, just a very, very important figure here as well for Kazna. He's the tactician, I guess. He's the guy that's really crunching the numbers for Kazna Crew and coming up with the strats. And here's Vetso as well, who we've been hard on this season. It's safe to say that. We've said if Vetso's not on top, he's at the bottom. He's literally eating dirt down the bottom of the scoreboard. This guy when he turns up, he really gets that plus 3k damage threshold. He really can be impactful. But sometimes he gets completely and utterly shut out. And Kazna Crew need him to fire today in every game.
Yeah, Vetsa really needs to be a good player. I think probably Eurofish. Hyber, I mean, he can kind of have an excuse since he's playing tier 8s often or tier 9s. But Vetsa really needs to step up. He needs to be the player who's getting good damage. He's actually in 4th place in terms of damage. Elian's actually below Vetso. Now, that's a real surprise. Elian, of course, considered to be the best European player in the world. A star from Lemming Train, of course, in that first grand finals where he had that massive clutch against Povol on Himmelsdorf in that final round, which did secure Kazna Crew through against School Bus. But, I mean, very quiet this season. Very mediocre. Not really playing up to standard, obviously having some issues. Maybe that WCA tournament didn't help them, but this is the pre-game ritual we see from Wombats. They always do this every single time, hypes them up, gets them going. And yeah, I mean, we're having a little bit of a delay, but we should be on the way soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably more because of this than anything else. Is Wombats not looking to compromise on any of their pre-game rituals as well. Bit of discussion. I mean, these guys as well, when you see them around, they're fairly laid back, fairly casual, but when the rubber hits the road, they really turn up and they really start to get loud. The question is, will they have to do that here? Will Kazna Crew push them to such a point where they have to dig deep and see that incredible mercurial play that we know from the Virtus Pro of old? They are the current reigning European champions. I know that Stefan kind of said that in the interview. Well, I mean, Kazna Crew were the Season 5 champions, so I'm sorry, but these guys currently hold the title.
And the main goal there, the main achievement was the fact that they managed to beat Wombats, right? Like, they beat them on Muravanka, and they just took it all the way. And I think, that's probably the latest significant result these two teams have had against each other on LAN, in a competitive environment, with the lights and cameras on them.
That's it. Led by Kusok, who has been around. He's part of the furniture here practically in the WGLEU. Has given us some incredible artillery play in recent times as well. We're seeing new facets to this team almost every single week. Kazna Crew now, of course, Eurofish, we've been hard on him as well. Very, very hard on him. We talk about him having inconsistent games, him making some big errors coming forward, playing those T10s. As an artillery player, it's safe to say he's up there with one of the best. But we all remember the clip, of course, with Penta knocking Kazna out of contention for Season 1 finals. He got outdone by Killer Pit in that game, or Clicker Pit, as we fondly had named him. He's up against Kusok, one of the best, has shown us just some awesome stuff so far. When it comes to maps, maybe like mine, if we get towards the end, steps as well, he's going to have to turn up. He's been inconsistent. We've even sort of said, we're not sure about his ethic approach to the game. Mostly speculation, of course, and we spoke to him as well, and we had it out with old mate just to make things clear. But Kazna Crew, they're always the ones. If we try and dump on them, they usually come back and say, hey, what's going on here? Why'd you say that? But it is what it is. Kazna Crew's results stand as such, and as the third seed here, they didn't finish the season in such a great spot. This, though, is where we start to see those Rule Land Dragons come out into Detroit.
I think Kazna Crew is probably the best European team, and Wombats is probably there as well. I think those two are the best. I mean, Tornado Rocks, fair enough, they got an all-star lineup, probably the best lineup. Even with Na'Vi and Hellraisers, I think probably Tornado is slightly better. I mean, of course, there's issues with Lucic and Diodor being very hard to work with, I heard. I mean, this is speculation, of course. I never played in the team. And one of the rumored reasons why they actually moved away from Hellraisers in the first place, moved away, I put inverted quotation marks. But I think they are probably the top two. Tornado played well at Continental, but I felt like, for instance, Wombats probably let it slip a little bit. But this is 768. I mean, this the first season finals. I mean, the first season final of any region, it's on 768, so it's going to be incredible. And looks like we're finally ready to get on the way. And we showed you those tank lineups before, but we're going to show them again because, it was a while.
It was so long. Yeah, so there you go. STB1 stack here for the Wombats on tanks, and 3 113s coming in for Kazna Crew. Stefan himself said they rate that tank very, very highly, and it's just starting to really come into vogue after some balanced passes that have been made towards it. Double TVP as well for the burst, the front-loaded damage, and the bat chat will be joining in that same result. Probably Isnay on the RU251, we'll wait and see, but it is going to be Prohorovka, our first map to kick things off. Kazna were very, very good in regular time against Wombats on this map, taking it 2-0 last time they played, but the tiebreaker was Prohorovka, and they lost it. Kazna crew cannot afford to make those mistakes here. It's time to get it on. Wombats in the red, Kazna attack in the blue.
Let's see what happens here. Last time Kazna crew managed to win 2-0 against Wombats on this map, as we discussed previously. But it's Slam Finals. It's a totally different beast, as Yizny just surges forwards in that RU251 to try and get in that initial spot. He might receive 1 or 2 shells. No spots actually coming out. He's actually not got his bulb up, so he's actually going to go aggressive right at the start, and he's got to be careful here.
Yeah, I think we missed his bulb going up. He sees Just Cause, and now Just Cause going to get melted down. Oh my lord, the damage is real. 154, not enough, and the shout comes out. Eurofish is the one who deals the final blow, and that's an excellent little pickup for Kazna crew, and all they had to do was get a bit of a scout run for Isnay.
Yeah, Yizny actually being more aggressive than normal actually found Just Cause in that situation, because Just Cause was safe if you just do the normal RU251 scout run across the middle, but because he went all the way through and Wombats were behind that little hill area on the left side, he actually managed to pick him up because there was no bushes, and that's really good pre-preparation from Kazna crew and a perfect start.
Now the 113s can push forward with a little bit more safety, in fact, as there is no longer a spotting tank up on the hill towards the left side. Surprised that Karitz himself wasn't there. He's obviously been flexed elsewhere at this stage. Well, you do see Isnay on your screen. He's in that 251. He wants to spot out as much as he can. And Wombats are really spread, actually. They've got a 113 and the 251 up towards the northeastern side, who are not able to participate yet. But Kazna should be expecting there to be a tank in that spot. Obviously on your screen was Elian for just a brief moment there, I think.
Plays Windows mode.
Yeah, that was pretty standard for him, I think. Yeah, a lot of players do that, actually, play with windowed mode. They just prefer it, so fair enough. Kazna crew, as what I was saying, they should expect Bishop to be in that corner. They've got tanks out of there before. Last time it was Elian shoving forward on a bat chat just to clear him out. Bishop going to be a little bit harder to move.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to dig out that situation. And the thing is, Kazna crew, I hate to say this again, but they've been one tank up with basically losing nothing before and actually managed to lose the match. So they need to really concentrate. They're so far ahead in this game because they took down Batchat and the second best player for Wombats, but still they do have the possibility of throwing. But yeah, you said it. Wombats are pretty spread out. The STPs will be late to the party. They're not the fastest tank in the world. They are obviously pretty fast. They're medium. But they aren't, as fast as a Leopard or a Batchat. So Kazna crew have the opportunity to, for instance, go for that cap number 2. The RU251 actually getting spotted. And Karitz is in that A0 position, and Yizny knows it. I mean, blind shots will probably come out. It's going to be hard to hit, but that's going to be the next move. I think they're going to try and send a Batchat to go and take care of him.
Okay, the spot on towards the STB as well. Now, that's what the 113s in the middle of the map were trying to shoot at before. With blind shots, they're going to connect some now. Isnay doing a heck of a lot of work at this stage, and you can see the Coca-Cola has been crippled. He's forced to move towards this downed card and just try and stay behind it. He can't see where those shots are coming in from. And Isnay's doing so much work right now, spotting out these tanks. Breakneck wants to push forward with a bit of an STB1 group, hoping to maybe catch the TVPs out. Isnay has located Karitz, has to be careful. Obviously, no chance to win the 1v1 now being down in health, but Karitz also taking a couple shots in from the middle. Kazna crew have a good amount of map control, good vision, and cleverly enough, they're pulling those TVPs out from the west so they can't be jumped upon by the STBs.
Yeah, but Bishop hasn't been spotted. He's completely safe in that position, and he could be a little bit of a surprise for Kazna crew. Obviously, Karitz is spotting Yizny, so they don't really know that he's there. Coca-Cola took another shell. So this is going pretty well for Kazna crew. Eurofish got out of that left position quickly enough, and Vetso's supporting him there. And you can see Kazna starting to make their way over that train track. Stefan receives a big blow, and Breakneck's just trying to punish them as much as possible. Eurofish is going to receive a little bit more, but Kazna have control over that right side now.
Could have been worse for Kazna crew as Stefan down to half. It was a double tap in. And Hyber now as well, pushing forward. He now knows Bishop has to be in that corner. He's still not spotted, so he's got double bushes there. But Karit's getting harassed up on the hill as well. Elian pushes in. This is what he does best. And Hyber, they should be able to make a bit of a pincer movement on towards Bishop here. And this is looking pretty good for Kazna crew so far. Bishop now taking damage from the hill. He's got 2 tanks to look towards. 3 make it. This is all angles the shots are coming in from. And Hyber now takes his time. He gets in there. Bishop was in a very safe position, but it ain't so safe when there's 3 tanks surrounding you. You can see right where you are.
Yeah, he got set on fire, but he would have died anyway. And it's 3 versus 7. No one on Kazna crew has gone down. Double the HP of Wombats. Vetso holding on to the side until the rest of his team comes surging in. Nexus also heading up north with that 113. And Vetso doing a fantastic job right now. Wombats really out of ideas.
Yeah. Vetso living dangerously here, but he still gets a cheeky little pick. He tracked that STB. He bounced the shot from Breakneck backing away. He could even go for the finish, but I think he'll just be clever and try and sit back and stay safe. Maybe an audacious pick might be in order for the man here, but he's done well. He's held his position well. Stefan pushes over. He's in a TVP. He can spray those bullets as much as he likes. And the capture is underway. It's 5-0 in terms of tanks here, and you can see that Stefan lines them up.
That mouse sense, how does he even play? They're so quick. And he's the highest damage dealer from Kazna. What an absolute beast. Kusok remaining and Breakneck trying to split up. They're trying to play for time. There's only 1 minute and 28 seconds left on this.
Kusok just trying to back away, but Elian's going to come over the top. Hello, Sally. Time to cop some damage, I think. Is Elian going to go on the chase? And the team captain for Wombats is going to be pushed straight away and taken down. And that is a stunning start for Kazna here. First game with almost 6k hit points in the bag and nothing but cold-eyed determination on the face of Vetso.
I think you could see at the beginning there, the win was always going to come for Kazna in terms of they took down Just Cause for nothing. Didn't receive a single point of damage. Even Yizny, who pushed across the middle, didn't receive anything. But I mean, the impressive thing for Kazna is that they used all the time. They played logically. They took down Karitz first. Then they moved on to Bishop in that 113. Took control of the middle with Vetso the whole time. He didn't play particularly aggressively, which was the right thing to do, keeping those STPs at bay. And that allowed Kazna to walk away with this round pretty easily, I have to say it. And yeah, perfect start for Kazna. In some ways, you could say, oh, Kazna have done better when they've been down one round at the beginning, but I mean, you can't argue with 1-0.
Or 3 rounds down in some cases. This is where they jumped on Bishop, so obviously they had the bat chat pushing on the hill. You can see it to your top right there. We go to Elian, and we did see him go forward. And then Hyper as well just came and cleaned up Bishop. And what you didn't see was that there was a 113 as well on the train line. So Bishop completely surrounded. Kazna played that well. The fact is, Ollie, they managed to get across towards the eastern side of the map at a very low cost of health points.
Exactly. They basically only received about 900 hit points onto Nexus. And Nexus didn't do much this battle. They didn't have to do. Yeah, I think if Wombats were going to go back in time to change that round, they would just make sure that they focus more on Yizny's extremely aggressive push, so he doesn't get taken. Just Cause doesn't get taken down, or at least they can try and get that tier 8 out of the game at an early stage. But good shooting against the Batchats, very quick off the hill, and they were all aiming towards him, so they knew that's what Wombats wanted to do. Because there's a 3 seconds delay, there was enough time for Kazna to shoot, but 3 seconds still not a lot. So good preparation. Yep. And, I mean, we're talking about it a lot, but it's just the first round. We got another 4 potentially, or another 8.
And that's your Scandinavian duo on the screen. It is Eurofish and Isny, who we just saw the replay of. Lived on a knife edge for a fair bit on that RU251. Stayed alive. Elian came with a backup. So honestly, he was a key to victory there for Kazna, no doubt about it. Elian up top, Vetso, when he's on, and he's on right now. 3.2k for him. Counting back down towards Just Cause, of course, got annihilated very, very early on, and Coca-Cola didn't stand up too much longer.
No, he was taken down very quickly indeed. And yeah, solid first round. Second round's just loading up now, so we're about 20 seconds away until we see if Wombats can actually win against Kazna and Prokhorov. They failed last time, as we said, and you know, the defensive side on Proc, slightly biased, but it's a pretty even map. I mean, 1 or 2% doesn't really tell you much.
No, it doesn't. And Wombats, well, they've shown that they can sneak a Proc map away from Kazna if Kazna aren't ready for it. But I mean, we saw Vetsu before as well. He's literally in a cone of silence right now. Nothing's getting to him. He's just looking dead at that screen. And Karitz here as well. Caller for Wombats on tanks in the 251 now. Let's see what he can sort of dig up with his little scout push towards the middle early. In typical Wombat style, it might be a little bit passive. Yeah,
they probably will play pretty standoff in this round. I think they want to reset themselves a little bit here and try and win. 42% of the time, we've seen Wombats win on the attacking side in Prokhorovka. Definitely not a particularly strong result. 38% of the time in general, they've won on Prokhorovka. So this is their weakest map. You have to always consider that. And one of the strongest for Kazna crew. Surprising, obviously, I mean, Wombats have been particularly strong on this one. At the beginning, as Kusok gets spotted, receives one from the side straight away. Good little shot from Kazna crew, but of course, Yizny gets one as well.
Yeah, he just needs to be careful. He needs to stay alive. Just Cause at least was also lit there as well, and he's caught in between a couple of buildings. So this is good recon work being done. And isn't it even Fancy's getting a little bit of damage in as well towards that STB1. Just Cause now has to be careful. And you can see he's backing up as well. Backpedaling is an understatement for him right now, as he knows he's in danger. Now, Isny doesn't know Breakneck's here. So Ilian and Isne together. Breakneck sitting on the side of the kill. He's still got 4 shots to go. So Isne has to be a little bit careful. There are a lot of bushes. You can get double bushes, you know, camo pretty easily up there. But the early peaks, the early trades, looking pretty good for Kazna here.
Bishop also gets Amarak, so that's going to be the repair kit down for him.
Oh.
And, you know, if Yizny... Ooh, more damage. This is just Ilian and Kazna just pounding Bishop back to back. He was actually unspotted, so blind shot, but good reply there onto Hyber. It looks like Wombats want to go forwards now.
And Bishop seems to want to do just that as well, and he's looking straight towards Nexus. He gets shot towards the back. Hyber is going to be jumped on. He's on the wrong side of the map, but Pavel's taking a lot of damage, and so is Coca-Cola. You can see the autoloaders, the fast-firing tanks here actually from Kazna Crew, just wreaking absolute havoc. Pavel goes down. Bishop coming forward, drops Hyber. Stefan and Nexus on the other side of the train track, and Just Cause getting hammered from that northern point. Kazna Crew have great vantage points to take these shots. There's nowhere Wombats can go and not be shot.
The thing is, Eurofish really needs to come off reload in that TVP if they want to try and close this game out. It's only 1,000 difference. Breakneck did a great job against Ilian and Yizny on the hill, but still, they have the hill presence.
And he has to give that ground away. Now, Ilian, he can go up top. He can make the shot. Kusok just took one from him. Eurofish in the TVP finishes off Bishop. And Wombats, they're starting to run out of juice a little bit here. Breakneck being pressured, who's on reload. Isne wants to exploit that as much as he possibly can. If you can get Breakneck to back off, great. If you can do damage, even better. And there is Coca-Cola locked in a mortal duel here with Eurofish and Vetso. Vetso should have the finish if he just makes the shot. He might have been tracked and unable to get his gun down, but Breakneck, I'd call this a compromising position.
Yeah, Breakneck is such a good player, though. I mean, he's coming off reload now, so he can potentially kill this. This is where Kazna Crew can start throwing this game. The HP is pretty close, of course. Kazna Crew have that extra tank in the game, but can they stabilize here?
Well, Ilian needs to stay alive right now. Breakneck needs to be nullified for as long as possible. He's one of the healthiest tanks on the side of the Wombats. And if Kazna can keep him in this basin, he cannot participate in the fight over the rest of the map. And that should be the green light for Kazna to come forward. But note, Vetso is very, very low. He's a one-shot. Eurofish and Ilian aren't looking much better right now, so they have to be careful. This is throwable. No doubt about it. We've seen Kazna do it before. So Wombats are going to head down towards the south. This is a rescue mission. No doubt about it. They're going to try and get Breakneck out of trouble here. Isne is spotted. They're going to hull over and just blow that 251 up immediately. And Ilian doesn't have great cover where he's standing.
No, it really doesn't. Has to be careful. But the thing is, if Kazna can get control of that middle area down towards that train line, they can actually one-shot them. And the thing is, you know, Creets, Just Cause, Kusok, all one-shots. Creets a two-shot, basically, but at least Kusok and Just Cause. So they've got to play very cautiously. The only man who can really do damage at this point is Breakneck. And great play by Wombats to actually put pressure on him. And yeah, not great play by Ilian. He's really got to stay safe in this position right now.
He can peek Breakneck from here, I think. He did see Karich's poke up. It was only a 251 shot on Eurofish. He has to keep himself alive. He goes down. Breakneck. No, he got Breakneck. Sorry, picked him up. I think he went down in response, so it's a 3v3. Karich is the healthiest tank on his team. Not anymore as Ilian gets the shot in. He's got a great position to make life hard for the Wombats here. Kazna Crew have a lot more health, but Vetso has fallen. There's extra tanks up for Wombats right now. They've got more to work with. We need to see Stefan make these shots count. He's looking healthy, and that's important. But Just Cause has 4 kills. He's looking to add to them as well. Shot coming in from God knows where towards Stefan. He's lit his bulbs up. He doesn't know where from, and he's getting completely savaged from all angles.
Great stuff here from Wombats. They're playing such a good level of well tanks, really good individually, trying to spread Kazna Crew around the map a little bit, and it's suddenly a 2 versus 3 situation. You know, Kazna Crew played really passively in the second half of the match, and it's definitely punished them, as Wombats have just been able to do the old peeking game on this one, and Stefan now one shot for the STBs.
He doesn't know what's on the other side of the train track. The peak does come in though. This tank was spotted. It was Batchat. And also Stefan knows he's got to be careful. If someone's firing at him from the middle of the map, like Kusok could be, he could be in deep trouble here. He does! Stefan goes down, and it's Ilian now, locked in a 1v3. This is Wombats stealing away a map. Well, they have no business taking it. They've got a terrible win rate, and Kazna Crew picked this as their crown jewel, you could say. But Ilian now, he has to go 1v3 to win this one, and that is a big ask, even for the Polish superstar.
The thing is, Ilian can just stay safe here. He's not going to be spotted. The only thing that's going to happen is a cap with the I-251, and if Just Cause wants to peek, I mean, he can get taken down very easily. But yeah, you said it. I mean, Kazna Crew is such a massive advantage at the beginning, but very bad individual play, and a lot of damage being taken for no reason. It's definitely made it harder for them. Ilian is a 2-shot, so Wombats have to make sure that they have at least 2 guns trained in every direction to make sure they can deal with Ilian. But he's a clutch master. He's been a little bit quiet this season. Let's see if he can really make it count where it matters.
The setup is so good, though. If Just Cause doesn't fire, though, he could be in trouble. Ilian sets up in the bush. it has coated optics and nothing else, of course, like you'd expect. He's more geared towards DPM. But Kusok up on the hill, I mean, even if Elian gets towards Just Cause, Kusok gets a free shot in. If he can back away from that one, play it passively, play the numbers game, he should be okay. Somehow Elian hasn't seen Just Cause yet. It's got to be a flick shot towards him. And the misses. Oh, both players miss, in fact, but there's Kusok. Look where he is. Easy stuff. He gets the shot in, and now the one-shot Elian has to make it work somehow against the odds, and the odds just keep stacking higher.
Unbelievable stuff right now. Can Elian get the kill against Just Cause? That's going to be the most important thing here.
Just Cause peeks over as well. No, he cannot, and Wombats take it away. Kazna crew, well, they messed that one up in a big way, and it was a 4v3. They had a 5v4, in fact, and Wombats, that is just how good these guys are. They managed to turn it around and make it one apiece.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about those peaks along the train line. If you can get them, you can come back from a big deficit. Kazna, I think the biggest point was breakneck. They took he managed to kill Vetso. It took a long time for him to kill him. Elian and Yizny shouldn't have pushed, like we were saying at the time. If they push him, this could be a throw. If they don't manage to take him down, it could be a throw, etc., etc. But yeah, Wombats with the perfect peaks. Every single angle, Wombats simply getting the damage across. But the thing is, it was actually a closer game than we kind of let on, I think. Okay, so if it's a 3 versus 5 at some point towards Kazna crew, it was only like 500-600 hit points between the two. So you can see here, even at 1.5, 2k hit points in favor of Kazna crew. Hyber screws up here because he doesn't manage to land any shells. But I thought at this point it was game over. But Eurofish and the SDB really didn't do a great job of taking down Coca-Cola. They took ages to kill him because they didn't push.
And despite having that hill control, Kazna crew weren't able to really capitalize. You see where Wombats are sitting now, sitting safe from the hill, even damage coming in there towards Elian. So Breakneck, although we had to give up that position, was still super healthy. Would always be able to come back, strike back a bit later on, even if he did get bullied around a bit. This is where things start to get a little bit closer. Yeah,
I mean, right now they shouldn't have pushed Breakneck. I mean, Breakneck plays it perfectly here. But I think Eurofish and Vetso get stopped here by Karitz. When they could just push over, you can put pressure on with the T110E5 of Nexus. But they don't, and they take ages. They get a lot of damage. You can see now, actually, Kazna crew trailing in hit points, and it was that few seconds, you know, with tier 10s, things can just swing left, right, and center without you really knowing. Now the position is better for Wombats because they got Breakneck locking down Elian. Elian can't get out of that situation without being spotted, and Yizny also in a position where he can't survive. So that was a great round for Wombats. I mean, they brought it back in that center, and they managed to make it work. But yeah, I mean, that was Kazna crew's game at some point. They threw it. Can they mature? Can they come back from that?
The rescue mission towards the south for Wombats and Tanks was just what the doctor ordered, and you can see Breakneck still able to do a lot of damage despite being pinned down for a fair while. 2k damage, 8 shots, pretty darn good. We see towards the second page here, Hyber in the 113, 412 damage. I mean, Povell didn't fare much better, but, you know, he got jumped on, and like you said, he just didn't hit the shots. He didn't have much time, but surely could have done a little bit more damage than he did. Completely gave over control of that entire side of the map, and he was what let Wombats rotate south and actually stop Elian from jumping on Breakneck and keeping him pinned down.
Yeah, exactly. Great round there from both teams. This is what we came for, guys. This is what we want. An absolute blood-for-blood battle, and both teams showing that they've got the potential to play at that very highest level. And next map is going to be Steps. Kind of similar to Prokhorovka in some respects. I mean, obviously the cat play is significantly featured on both maps. More, of course, featured on Steps, where a lot of teams like to go for that northern cap at the start. It's going to be Wombats on the defensive side and Kazna crew on the attacking side. And Kazna have had their map pick now. Both teams moving on to a map perhaps they're not so comfortable with.
I think that's fairly safe to say. I think Wombats and Tanks still have a positive win rate, 60% on Steps. Kazna, though, this is not a map they may be all that familiar with, and probably one they were hoping not to have to deal with. This is going to be the 5th time they've played it, or the 5th round, in fact, they played Steps. So only 2 other games before this one, and they weren't pretty. They have won 1 round on this map all season. Not ideal, but let's see if they've maybe done their homework a bit, because you damn well need a good map pool if you're going to be the best in Europe.
Yeah, you need to have a completely stacked map pool. The only map which I would say both teams don't like to play is probably Ghost Town. Wombats haven't played it a single time this season, and Kazna crew have played it very few times, and they've lost basically all the time. So you can see, you know, that's banned out straight away. Both teams are not willing to sacrifice anything in that respect. No point. But of course, lineups. Kusok playing the artillery piece, Lorraine 15551, a bit of a gamble. Kazna crew going for something a little bit faster, a mixture of those objects and the 113s, a bit of a boost coming up. Kazna crew not in that position at all. And looks like Wombats setting up for a northern cap here.
Now, not bad work by Vetso to get into this position first, by the way. I think Coca-Cola now coming back would like to be here and be a bit of a southern pivot, but he's been lit already and the damage comes in. Props to Vetso for getting there so quickly. And he can really challenge. I mean, now with Coca-Cola taking it one hit, Vetso will win the 1v1. So it's super dangerous times, but Vetso could be in trouble.
Artillery shot. Artillery piece, sorry. Didn't see that.
Yes, he is in the M40, M43. Look at the artillery. Bang down on towards Coca-Cola. He's in deep trouble.
He's dead. I mean, if Eurofish can hit the next shell, he's surely dead. There's not even anyone for Wombats and tanks who can actually get the reset against him, but he is trying to do as much as he can, and the cap is underway, so he's just holding time for his team.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of Object 140s being expended down south. Vetso just needs to go and get the finish, but he's scared of something. The cap is underway, and look how far forward towards the eastern side the Wombats have been able to push. They prevent Kazna from capping. 3 tanks on the cap. No nonsense. Wombats trying to get this one finished as quickly as they can, but where's the push going to come from? It looks like it'll be Hyber to step up to the plate. Nexus just got completely wrecked, and this artillery shot is going to be important. He does, it's the one shot. Kusok goes down in that Lorraine. He just sat himself on the cap, he got lit, and that was all Eurofish needed to get the kill.
Well, you got 25 seconds, and there's still 2 tanks in the cap, so it might still be enough time for Wombats, but it doesn't look like they're going to push out. They've both been spotted. Hyber's in the middle in a bit of an awkward position, and to be fair, Popple might be able to find a kill, but Hyber gets the shot. Nice stuff. Kazna crew now surging through the middle with 2,000 hit points to spare.
Wombats pulled off the cap here, maybe just a little bit too late. Karitz and Popple, they're still on their feet, but Jaskos has just fallen. He was trying to assassinate the artillery, but Eurofish still stands. He had the protection of the TVP, I think, that was with him at the time. Stefan, great work from him. And now, what do Wombats have to work with here, Ollie? They've got 3 objects, 2 430s and 1 140. Where the heck do you go from here?
Well, 3 of the best players in the world and a Kazna crew that's already shown today that they can throw the games which they're ahead. That's what the 2 things they have. Everything else, in terms of just having that ability to come back from games, is definitely still in Kazna crew's favor. And, you know, I kind of just want to listen to their team speak in some respects, because obviously you guys are going to hear that. It's not going to be very loud because we don't really want to give away too much tactics for the teams, you know. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, why didn't you use TeamSpeak? It's because the teams don't necessarily want it. But Karitz starts off well with a bit of a blind shot against Hyber.
Yeah, Hyber has no idea. I mean, Karitz didn't know either, but he'll be lit in a second. Is Hyber probably happy enough to drop eventually, as long as he gets some information here? Kazna don't really know what the next move is going to be for Wombats. They pulled themselves off the cap. They tried to reset, go for something else. There's the finish on Hyber. Karitz was at least lit. So Kazna crew gets some value for money, and they see that Object 430 lit up on the map. Now, Isnik up towards that side here as well. See if he just sets up. Good artillery shot comes in. Wasn't a huge hit, I think, on towards Bishop, but he did take one nonetheless. Stefan and Ilian now just get to sort of just converge on these last few tanks left. I mean, it's not ideal for Wombats. The problem is, as good as their health total is, they don't have the guns. I mean, it's going to be a 4v3 if it really gets to a brawl. Throw in the aspect of Eurofish and the artillery, who's already had a great game. The counter battery versus Kusok was divine. And you can see he's lined up watching that rock there. Yeah,
but the thing is, I mean, this is the danger zone for Kazna crew. Just in the previous round and all around Kaza's lost against Wombats, they lose when the things start to slow down. Every single time. Same as on Prokhorovka, where things slowed, Kazna crew lost. When things are fast, dynamic, and, you know, all over the place, Kazna crew really thrive in that mayhem. But Wombats, they're more methodical. They're from that old school side of World of Tanks, you know, the Na'Vi, the Hellraiser, the Red Rush Team 1 days, when things were slower. And that's going to be the problem for Kazna crew. But they're holding off Wombats well. They lost that last round in Prokhorov because they were a little bit passive, I feel, in some respects, especially up in the north. And they're doing the same here. So Kazna crew is still not out of danger, as Pavel just doing the best. And it looks like Wombats committing for a southern push.
We've never seen a more momentum-focused or momentum-driven team in the WGLEU. That is Kazna crew down to a T. These guys thrive on the emotion and the atmosphere, and of course, obviously momentum from previous rounds or having a good start. Now, doesn't mean that they're not prone to also messing up in that way, but this is Vetso here as well. I mean, while we're talking about momentum and emotion, this guy embodies it for Kazna crew. When he's on form, he's impossible to stop. Unfortunately, if he does get shut down, it's a very, very quiet Vedran sitting on the end of his team's table. Well, let's see. Karitz now going to hook around towards the south side. In fact, at least all the Wombats are trying to go together. They could catch Vetso here as well, but I don't think Vetso's going to give him too much of a target.
Now, Object 430, of course, the DPM Beast, a little bit more awkward to play than the 140. That's why we don't see it particularly used. But the DPM is absolutely fantastic on that vehicle. Everything else is worse. Karitz gets spotted, Vetso with the coated optics and the better camera value. But, you know, if Vetso goes down, he's on his own, completely unsupported. Shot goes whistling past for Eurofish, and Vetso knows that he has to run, he has to get out of this situation, doesn't even get spotted down the hill. And it's 3 minutes and 42 seconds left for Kazna crew to hold on. They got, well, three tanks basically in favor for them, 2 tanks in favor, 2,000, almost 3,000 hit points in favor. And they've got the defensive side.
Yeah, and there's no easy pickups here for Wombats, unless you count Eurofish, but he's surrounded by his entire team. So Wombats, they kind of just have to go into it clean and just get a pick off. They got to focus their fire really well. That's probably the most important thing for them now if it were to come to a fight. The problem for them is that their light bulbs are going off no matter where they are on the map. So trying to orchestrate something unbeknownst to Kazna crew is going to be really hard for them to do. Kazna crew have that whole valley covered. They know they can't go north anymore because Kazna crew just shuffle an Object 140 over and get the spots and then just push in. So really tough times for the Wombats here. I mean, they've got out of this position before, but against these odds, against this team, I don't know if it's really possible.
Yeah, they did go for the old fake, so they went towards the right side, got spotted, and then went towards the left side a little bit, then went back towards the right side. So it's a fake. This is going to be the last move for Wombats on tanks. They have to make everything stick if they want it to work. Gisny gets the early spot at least, and the first bit of damage.
Yeah, it doesn't do too much back himself here, but at least the cat's out the bag now, and the Wombats are out of the bag as well. You're going to push over the hill. They're looking for East there, but Vetso's going to be in the corner in the bat chat, and everyone from Kazna crew is able to get involved here. Karitz is getting chucked down. He can't even finish off Easner before he drops here. Wombats try to get some sort of overmatch. It's just not going to happen. Vetso's still with another shot left to ring out. He's looking for Pavel, hoping to catch onto the backside of him. And Bishop is also very, very low. Clean, as always saw Kazna crew get it done here on Steps, a map that, well, we really didn't have too much faith in them for, but they've been doing their homework.
Yeah, they've done a really good job in these last 3 rounds. I'd say every single round has been Kazna crew won. Of course, Wombats won that second one, but it was a very close one indeed, and Wombats just winning based on pure skill. As Still Mojo says, that is their main attribute. That's what they like to do, and yeah, I mean, solid round. Of course, you know, that one reset by Eurofish, perfectly done. Doesn't aim for the artillery piece, actually hit it, but still manages to reset the other 3 tanks behind. Because, I mean, Wombats had to go for a knee-jerk maneuver to, of course, get the reset, to get the cap on the way, because Coca-Cola was down in that batch. And again, Kazna crew trying to pick off those batchets. They know that Wombats batchets are better than theirs. They want to take them down as early as possible, otherwise they lose the game. But, I mean, this 57% of the time we see the attacking round going towards the team on Steps. So it's the favored side. Wombats not happy. You can see it on their faces.
Absolutely. I mean, we did see the artillery of Kusok got spotted on the cap before he got fired at as well. And they lost the flexibility as well of having that Lorraine on the map. He was out of the picture. And this is much better from Kazna crew. And like you said, Oliver, you said this earlier on, it's not often that Wombats come to an event and show us something we haven't seen during the season. They'd like to keep the same sort of way, the same sort of strategy. Very, very consistent, but maybe to a fault here. And speaking of consistency, Ilian finds himself at the top of the damage scores yet again. No one's really surprised. Yeah,
I mean, he's always better offline than he is online, but this is the main moment we can see it. I mean, Hyber just charging straight across the middle. You can see that 113 is fast. Eurofish, I didn't even see he was playing artillery. He actually just perfectly lands in front, kills that Lorraine. He's playing the M40. He's got that 9-meter splash, managed to do some damage onto Bishop, doesn't find Karit. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Wombats lost Coca-Cola. They lost the artillery piece, and they also lost Breakneck, who tried to go forwards, to stop Hyber from spotting.
Yeah, so Hyber, you know, that's the thing, that's the risk you take. A lot of times teams are afraid to push the tank forward to use it to spot, and they send like a tier 8 or something because they almost feel like they're throwing it into the fire, that they're going to lose it. But Hyber manages to stay alive up there as well. He eventually got picked up, but he knew getting into that position, he wouldn't be able to get out. It was a one-way ticket to getting his team in the upper hand, and it definitely worked out there. So that's well played from him, and you can see now how Hyber can circumvent maybe some of his issues in dealing high amounts of damage, because he makes himself a playmaker, he makes himself a key piece, he gets the spot, so he's in the right spot at the right time, and that's when it works out. When it doesn't work out, you saw it on the second round, and Prohorovka had no backup or not much at all. But here we go, going to jump into the second round here as well. Kazna crew now will be moving on to the attacking side here, and here are your tank picks. No more 430s here for Wombats and tanks. They come on with the 140s. Kazna crew, bringing in triple FE215B. Remember, this is a team who changed things up and started to go for the heavy lineups on this map. And this could be very, very interesting with 3 FE215s.
This is one of their main tactics I think they use against Oops and Wombats, right?
The playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs. They use them against Oops. And they just try to funnel Oops in towards a position on the map. They use the FE215Bs to do a lot of damage and managed to, basically just brawl them out very easily. So I think Wombats can see that lineup, and lineup is so important in 768 compared to 754, where it was basically just T54 lightweights and RE251s, that you can kind of guess a team's tactic. But then you can also counter it, and Elian playing very aggressive with that batch at the beginning, maybe wanting to spot actually that peak.
Oh dear, the blind shot's going to come in. He's going to want to hope to get off reload quickly. Someone's going to cop it here. I don't know who, but Eurofish now is going to make the shot in a couple seconds. Oh, we spot him though. They've actually managed able to break formation. Eurofish just sprays a shot in there. Oh, that's not too bad at all. That's not a good start for Wombats at all. And Kusok getting absolutely hammered on top of the hill. Shots come in. He goes down.
Wow.
And while the reload for Eurofish wasn't quite there, he sprayed the shot. He turned his turret, of course, he's reduced his accuracy, and then Kazna crew just got the damage in.
Yeah, the thing is he needed to shoot because, of course, Elian would only be able to spot across. He can't spot below him, so those tanks would have gone unspotted, and that would have been bad news. He had to make that shot. So perfect start again from Kazna crew. They took down Kusok. They did a lot of damage, and now they got the heavy tanks to actually push over towards the right side and get control of this cap. I mean, what are we seeing here? This is Kazna crew executing unusual tactics, just outplaying Wombats every single day of the week. And yeah, I mean, at the moment, Kazna sit back. They haven't lost any HP at all. He just needs to come off reload, and then Hyber can push this cap and get control of it easily.
And he has done just that. Coca-Cola being forced to paint through the nose for the damage he was able to do towards Hyber. And here it is. It's a bit of a rescue mission, but a different kind of rescue mission here as Breakneck wants to try and rescue his team's chances of this round. Instead of him being rescued himself, they push towards Elian, and Elian just hammering in towards Carissa at AMX 1390. Not long for this world, and Elian sends it packing. So Breakneck now finds himself on reload on his own in the middle of the map. And it's just going from bad to worse for the Wombats on tanks.
Creed has actually been playing very well individually. He was one of the main reasons why they actually won that the second round on Prokhorovka. So him going down is definitely not good, but he is the shot caller for Wombats on tanks. So him down will free up his mind to try and make some decisions. But Kazna crew playing it pretty patiently. They knew that Wombats would push through the middle, or they at least could kind of guess that's one of the options for Wombats, one of the only options now. And yeah, Kazna still have plenty of time, another 7.5 minutes to play around with. And eventually they can just start capping, say, okay, Wombats, you can come at us, and yeah, okay, you can get some good exchanges, but so far ahead now.
Just look at the gap that Kazna crew have been able to open up already. I mean, they've hardly committed anything of their own into this. You can see maybe an artillery shot coming in from Eurofish. He knows Just Cause is going to be jockeying back and forth here, so he needs to commit to a particular angle there as well. Shot comes in, didn't connect there as well, but Just Cause now knows he's being watched very, very closely. Elian, though, set on fire, being pressured from the mid. Somehow, Wombats might be able to make an opening through him, but Isne, sitting right back on the bat chat. We'll be able to see Coca-Cola and Povel ascend. He needs to hit these shots, though. He gets one in. Povel tries to fire him back, and it's just strong positions from Kazna crew all over. Yeah,
and they're using their repair kits as well, but Yizni's not really done particularly well with those 5 shots, and fluffing a few of them, to say the very least. Coca-Cola receiving some damage, but yeah, I mean, Wombats have received so much damage, killed, lost so many tanks. The fact that Kazna crew can start flexing around the map, getting some control right now, and Just Cause he's dead, he's out, he's a John Doe.
John Doe. I think we know who he is. It just doesn't quite matter now. His tank's off the map. Breakneck up in the north side. He knew he had to try and take the fight against Isne. He drops down. We do have an FE215B was tracked up there, and it's going to be a mess here as Stefan pushes forward. He can just go wherever the heck he pleases right now in that 215B. Coca-Cola and Povel caught up. They're going to be in the middle of this, as Povel has to roll back. He's still trying to do it. Isne, who's sat up in the corner the whole time. He might eventually go down, but at what cost? I'll tell you what cost. It's going to be the round at the very least here, as Wombats on tanks start to lose control of this one here. Losing both on steps is a pretty scary sign, but we know that Kazna crew, prior to the pre-playoffs, did change their strategy on this one. They've taken teams by surprise, and Wombats are no exception.
They're an amazing team right now, Wombats, and they've never been a team that actually particularly cares about how many rounds they've lost. They always come back. They're always cool, calm, and collected. I mean, when you speak to Wombats in general, they show no emotion, like literally show no emotion. It might be, of course, the language barrier, but they don't really show that much weakness. And I think that's, indicative of why they consistently manage to come back from these deficits. And it's it's an attribute of all the top teams, I feel.
Well, mate, I think whatever language you speak, when you're mad, people are going to know about it. The cap is going to be completed, and Bishop is going to be a little bit too slow here getting to that one. The round is going to go over towards Kazna Crew. Going to be 3-1 here, and it's a great opening from them. Wasn't a great Prohorovka. Can you imagine where they'd be if they didn't mess up that second round?
Yeah, they would have been 4-0, they would have been a match point, and that would have been incredible. But I don't know, I think I was wondering, like, at some point, when a team would just do that. Just be super aggressive at the beginning with a tank, like an AMX-3090 or a Batchat, depending on who gets to spawn. And then just send them straight across, have artillery piece, make the shot, and see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, you're at bare minimum going to find them. You're going to see where they are, you're going to see what they're going to do, you can get some shots across. If you don't find anyone, you can kind of guess where they're going to be, you can make some decisions, but yeah, this was a big point. Kusok getting tracked.
The splash as well, pretty decent, but he got caught on the top of the kill. That's what Wombats are actually quite good at doing, is getting that track, aiming for the tracks first here. But what's more interesting, before that clip actually rolled, I think during, Eurofish wasn't actually looking at the right spot. So if Alien didn't actually go forward and spot those tanks out, Eurofish wouldn't have made that slight correction in aim that allowed him to stop Wombats in their tracks there. Great spot, and that was where it really fell apart from them.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, you can't lose Kusok and still win the match, well, at least very easily. And the damage from the splash didn't make too much of a difference, but it did do 600, which is always good. Yeah, and Wombats, again, they get outplayed at the beginning. They couldn't get back into the match later on. They just lost too much. And Kazna Crew with Alien in the middle with the Batchat managed to do a good amount of damage. But yeah, I mean, we're moving on to Cliff. Steps done. It's been Kazna Crew better every round, I have to say. I mean, every single round. The round they lost on Prokhorovka was their own volition. They did it themselves. They can only have themselves to blame. They've stabilized on this one, and they are now 3-1 ahead. Cliff, I have to say, I mean, it's a Wombats map. 66% of the time they've won it. They haven't played it a lot. 50% of the time Kazna Crew has won it, so it's pretty close, I guess. But it almost doesn't matter at this point in time.
So Vetso didn't have to do much that game, actually. Only just 356 damage being done. Koritz and Kusok got completely and utterly shut down. Nothing's going to make you angrier than being tracked out in the open up the top of the hill before the fight even starts. Just a horror start to that one for Wombats and Tanks. But Cliff, like you said, a little bit more rosy possibilities for them. If they don't tilt themselves off the face of the earth, I think they will at least be able to pick up one round here and, I guess, stall out Kazna's victory. But, I mean, I don't know, dude. Seriously, getting those 2 rounds there as well, I would hazard a guess that Steps wasn't even Kazna's pick here.
No, I don't think so either. I think that was probably Wombats. But Cliff is going to be a really interesting one. I mean, it's fast and furious. It's a gamble, for sure. I mean, do you gamble to go for that lower road? If you do, sometimes it works out. Everyone says you're brilliant. Sometimes it doesn't. Everyone thinks you're an idiot. So that's always a problem with Steps and Cliff, sorry, that can catch teams out. If it's going to be Wombats or Kazna Crew, I don't know. We've only got 6 rounds played by Kazna Crew on this map and 9 rounds played by Wombats, so not a lot of data to really go on, which always provides for better games. But Kazna, they've been the better team so far, and they have that important 3-1 scoreline.
Yeah, the better team so far. That's what we said in match day 9, I think, or towards the end of the season, where Kazna Crew messed up and let Wombats take the win. So let's see now. It's going to be Cliff. It's going to be Wombats attacking in the red here. They're coming out with quite a lot of that lighter lineup here as well, with Batchats thrown in the mix. 3 of them, in fact, 2 TVPs, 4 Batchats, should I say, and a couple 113s for Kazna Crew here, just to give them a little bit more of that sustainability in those fights.
Yeah, they just need to be able to live for a little bit, but it looks like a bit of a brawl in the middle between these 2 teams, perhaps trying to take advantage of the 113s. Wombats just going forwards with the Batchats.
Yeah, they're not wasting any time, and they want to come forward. The artillery shot could be important here. If those 2 tanks just keep jockeying back and forth, it could be a deadly hit here from Eurofish. Hard shot to make, and he's got to get a good bit of damage. He tracks up Bishop, but there's a lot of damage being taken. Vetso getting hammered down. Hyber's taking some now as well. Nexus also suffering, but Kazna Crew are giving as good as they get. Bishop now down to 768, just cause it's also low. And the Wombats, they let that first little bit of damage go, and they've got to back up.
But Povel, he's in the background. He could really do some work. I don't think that's the normal move. Kazna Crew perhaps not really ready for this one. And you can see they're trying to really get back into this game. I would actually like the way Wombats are playing this. It's very aggressive, very interesting, very surprising. And now Kazna crew just pushing through the middle. They know that Povl actually made a few shots and doesn't have a lot to play around with.
Kazna have to go forward here. Elian gets the finish on Just Cause. Stefan's full health and 4 shots to go. Breakneck's going to be the recipient, and even some damage being done here by Eurofish on the backside. Kazna crew push up. They take the game in their own hands. Povl has to back away now. He is on reload, and Kazna want to keep pushing forward here. You can throw from here, no doubt, but as a 7v4 game, it's a beautiful opening by Kazna crew, and now they just need to tie it up in a nice little bow and send it on its way.
Yeah, Nexus could go down to Bishop, though. He's actually coming off reload. The interesting move is going to be this. The RU251 is essential to Wombats.
And it looks like he's going to be chased down as well. And Izane knows that. I think he knew he needed to chase on as much as he possibly could in that object 140. And he's the healthiest take for Kazna crew right now. You can see how they're trying to use him. But Kazna just winning this. This has devolved into just a scrap, a little street side brawl. And Kazna crew thrive in this environment. This is how they like to play. They love chaos. They love emotion. They love energy. And they're bringing all of those things to the stage right now. Yes, Eurofish will go down. Karish should get another shot in now if he's not unlucky. Eurofish rolls off the hill. It just doesn't matter at this point. Wombats with less than 1,000 hit points left. I mean, we've seen him bring it back before, but Izane now wants to go and try and bail his Scandinavian mate out of jail. I don't know if that's really possible here, as Karitz now realizes that he's going to be kept from his prize by the rest of Kazna.
This is really nice from Karitz. I love the way he's playing right now. He's basically keeping an M40 and an Object 140 at bay and not able to go forwards. Elian gets spotted, but brilliant play by Elian to take down Kusok. Absolutely wrecks his face, and that's just Bishop left on the map right now for Wombats. Kazna crew now on the verge of being on match point.
Incredible stuff here. Beautiful opening from them on the defensive side of Cliff. Not normally a map, but we see the cap being played, and the brawl was just good for Kazna. The 113 standing strong. Hyber there v Bishop, the 1v1. Bishop can only really take one shot. It actually goes into his track. He absorbs that one up. The artillery shot didn't connect. No, shots come in from the top of the hill there were, in fact. And Bishop now, Elian wants to take him out, but Hyber gets the finishing. Kazna crew, it's 4-1. Who would have thought we'd be here right now? Kazna crew literally sneak their way into the finals, and now they're taking it to the reigning champions.
3 rounds in a row they'd have to lose. I don't put it past Kazna crew, but I mean, it's starting to get pretty hard for them to actually lose it. And we don't have a Ruinberg, so it could possibly happen. We've got Cliff one more round, Mines and Cliff against as the tiebreaker. Both tiebreakers on the semi-finals are Cliff. But I mean, what was that game? I feel like Wombats actually just didn't play logically. They pushed super aggressive at the beginning with the bat chats. But the thing is, I mean, you're always going to be pushing into the 113s. They did great damage. Kazna crew put good pressure on here with the TVPs and the batch on the hill. Good little track there by Bishop, forcing him to use his repair kit. That's important later on. But you can see here, Kazna crew just punishing with a double batch shot, and Karit's really not doing much in the background.
Vetso the only tank that was really taking a lot of damage. And this was supposed to be the push as well. Povl around the side in the bat chat. He got some damage done, but all that did, Kazna crew had enough of an advantage already while Povl was getting in position that they said, stuff it. Let's just push over the hill. We have a lead. We can cut Povl out of the action, essentially nullify him for the next 15 or so seconds, and we just give ourselves even more of an overmatch. Now we have 2k hit points ahead, and they're down one tank who can't fire. Beautiful stuff from Kazna. They catered that engagement to their advantage every step of the way.
Yeah, and I think, again, an important point to make is that Wombats played illogically, which is something we never say about Wombats at all. They just were super aggressive there, and that's not something they do. 4-1 right now. Every single round, Kazna have been better, and Elian having, what is 5th round now? We've seen him being on top of that leaderboard, 4th or 5th. He's just been an absolute beast. Good to see him that, you know, being the land dragon that he is, just an absolute beast. And Coca-Cola having a mare at the bottom there in 14th place. Now, Cliff, where Kazna crew now on the attacking side. Cliff is pretty balanced, I have to say it. It was actually 50-50 for most of the match, most of the season. So any team can get this one done and dusted, but I have to say that was a pretty half-assed slap from Kusok there. He looks pretty upset.
Very similar lineups for both these two teams, except Kazna will persist with artillery. Mate, before the game even started, Coca-Cola was having a nap in his chair. Low energy from the Wombats, and it seems to have stayed that way so far. They're not coming in with it. They're not hungry, I feel like, right now. They're just coasting their way through. And, well, this is it. This is, I mean, do or die for them, obviously. In fact, a lot of rounds from here out are do or die. Kazna crew just need to finish the job, and that sometimes has been a problem for them. but they're bringing 4 bat chats, 2 TVPs. The same for Wombats. They have an RU-251 that can roam as a bit of a pocket. And of course, the M40, M43 of Eurofish, who, to be fair, has not disappointed us at all today.
No, actually, I have to say, I mean, that could be the battle here, right? I mean, for instance, the second round which Wombats won on Prokhorovka was probably before that extra flank by Kreitz, where he was playing in the middle of the map in the RU-251. And the rounds which Eurofish had played, he's been one of the most important factors. So, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tale of two halves. RU-251 versus artillery. We obviously saw artillery from the defensive side against Oops, which worked out well once and all the rest of the time pretty badly. But Wombat's super aggressive through the middle and only one shot going towards Bishop.
They should know that not a lot of Kazna crew are actually set up here. They should know that Kazna went towards F3. They spotted the double bat chat go there in the first place, but Povel takes a bit of damage. We see the artillery shot coming in here. This could be another devastating one. Where's the respect for our man Eurofish right now? Wombats don't seem to give a stuff, and they're going to pay for it. The artillery shot going to come in. A little bit of splash over there, and Isner from the background doing damage. Again, Wombats are losing out the early peaks here. Definitely not lost from here, no doubt about it, but gotta be careful. They have hill control. They're all around it. Kazna crew are backed off towards that western side of the map, but there's the finish. Vetso pitch up breakneck. That's the first casualty. Nexus gets a lovely little flank on towards Coca-Cola. Gonna ruin his day. And Coca-Cola should damn well be awake now.
Kazna crew are playing basically full autoloader lineup, right? Apart from that artillery piece. So they need to play in waves. They need to make sure they keep Wombats back and then go forwards at the end of those pushes. But Hyber's with a really strange flank. I have to say, that might open up in the southern side of this map for Wombats to push. And Hyber playing Batchat is always a bit of a strange one. We're not sure exactly how he's going to perform, but Wombats are down some hit points. But they're certainly not out of this game. They're actually getting some good spots onto Stefan. They need to slow it down, play it through, be a little bit logical, get some good flanks around, and yeah, just keep control of this lighthouse.
As it stands, neither team have any vision on each other. So, you know, we've seen Wombats be very, very good at the mid to late game here on this map. Kusok, you know, using those maces, those hills around the map to just get a lot of vision. But as I say that, not much vision really going to either team here. Kusok fancies to ascend to the top of the hill. Probably a couple blind shots coming in there from the artillery. Being down one tank doesn't really suit them well, I'm sure of it, especially with Eurofish now able to compound that a little bit in that artillery. Once the spots come out, he'll be more than happy to let rip.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think they can play around Eurofish. I mean, that's the main point. No point in them going forwards if they're at a massive advantage and they got time to play around with. That might give Wombats some flexibility around the map. You can see they are starting to gather up, perhaps predicting that Hyber's still up north. Kreit's not really in position to actually spot him. So this is Wombats now pushing against 3 TVPs. Another Batchat that was slightly out of position for Kazna crew. Let's see what happens.
This could be dangerous for Wombats if Kazna hit their shots, but Ilian and Hyber aren't looking in the right direction right now, and I don't know who's going to be ready for this one. Ilian pushing forward into a Batchat right now. He's going to be spotted in a few moments, and it's a 3v2 actually overmatch. Coca-Cola, the shots have to come in, and Ilian is caught out there. Hyber, though, he's going to come forward. They've got an extra Batchat there as well. They lose one early, but the TVPs have fired quite a few shots, but Hyber getting burnt to the ground. He pushed around a corner. He's got to get taken out now. It's Defenso. He drops, and Wombats have made a precision strike to the heart of Kazna crew's defense, and they have left them absolutely reeling.
Perfect play from Wombats. Perfect timing as well. Now it's a game on. 2,800, 2,900 hit points, 4,700 for Wombats right now. And that timing from Wombats was perfect. The artillery wasn't really on reload. Povel now coming in to take down Nexus. Huge kill there for Wombats on tanks. They brought it back.
Kazna can't handle the game being slowed down. They can't handle the pace or the ability to dictate the pace being taken out of their hands. That was the most awful couple seconds I have seen from them. But more conversely, an excellent push by the Wombats who hit those shots when they had to. As soon as I saw Hyber go forward, I said, maybe, just maybe, we've entered into an alternate reality where Hyber can play that oil loader and really be a highlight. No, actually no. It takes 1,100 damage in 3 seconds. It is time for Wombats to clean things up here and get themselves back in this one potentially. Isner just has to sit back on the hill and wait for things to happen. He's trying to use Eurofish as much as he can, but there's 10 seconds yet to reload. Povel will sit there and keep him in place. Povel does have to be a little bit careful, but I tell you, Eurofish will be threatened himself in a few moments.
Yeah, he's going to be down any second now. Might be a phone. Povel, he gets lucky. Hasn't been particularly impressive on the artillery piece. Povel will be able to find Yizny in the next couple of seconds. A bit of a low roll there from Yizny, and actually could fall here. But Just Cause will find Eurofish as he spotted.
Yeah, is they going to get caught there as well? Eurofish to drop, Just Cause actually only with one shot left, so goes in. Kusok gets the finish. Is they constantly being tracked? Not like he could even move out of that position anyway. And Wombats on the brink of defeat. Bring around back. And Kazna crew just got absolutely trounced there as well. Good to see some fight still in this lineup. Of course, our reigning champions keeping themselves in this one.
Absolutely fantastic work for Wombats. I mean, the timing was impeccable from them. Of course, it was a guess, and as I said at the beginning, it's always a gamble on Cliff. Kazna crew decided to push forwards. They wanted to try and get an advantage. Well, they had an advantage, but use the advantage, go forwards because they thought Wombats would flank. But perfect timing. First of all, Kusok on the hill hitting all of his shells in the bat chat. Second of all, obviously Wombats coming forwards in the better position. And third, I mean, yeah, I think a few missed shots. Vetso getting tracked and set on fire. And Yizny also getting taken down. But at the beginning, I mean, Kazna crew had 3,000 hit points in their favor. But from there on out, it was just really bad. I mean, I think they got unlucky, to be honest, with that push. But Wombats' individual playing was just unbelievable as well.
Yeah, it's clear to see that Ilian was thinking about something. In fact, Kazna crew were out to make their own little push, I think, at the time. So they got caught literally like with 1 foot out up in the air. And the timing was good, but I don't know.
This is it, right? Like, the Ilian Hive are pushing forwards, but there's a 3 versus... Well, it's a 3 versus 2, but there's also a tank on the hill. Ilian gets spotted. Vetso's there as well, but he gets tracked here. When he goes back to try and Coca-Cola, gets a low roll against Coca-Cola, so he doesn't take him down. He wouldn't have taken him down anyway. But I mean, that's 2 for nothing because Just Cause and Bishop stopped immediately. Perfect stuff. If Kazna crew had stayed there in those positions they were before for another 10, 15 seconds, they would have probably been able to win that round. But yeah, I mean, this is why we love this. I mean, Kazna crew playing well, Wombats coming back into the game. You know, it's constantly going back and forwards like a seesaw. And yeah, at this point, Kazna crew already 3 tanks down, 2,000 hit points.
They literally
game over.
4 tanks, all 3 bat chats and a TVP. They just grabbed them, they chucked them in the bin. Like, oh, we're done with that.
I mean, that's the thing about those autoloaders. Kazna crew had all autoloaders apart from the artillery piece. Tried to use them effectively, but they were, as I said, they're always going to come in waves. And if you have 1 or 2 non-autoloading tanks, it can also make a big difference. And we said this before, right? I mean, once you have the control of the lighthouse, that makes a huge difference. And that's what really made, for instance, Kusok do 3,059 damage.
Yeah, chilling up on the hill there as well. You saw his shots coming in, but very, very nasty. And it'll be a sad story, I think, when we get towards the second half of things. And Hyber, Eurofish, I mean, he wasn't able to do too much. Stefan got blown up straight away. Poor guy. Just
yeah, Eurofish had a pretty unlucky round. He was aiming. I think he could have aimed a few more seconds, actually, because it looked to me like if Wombats wanted to push all the way, they would have actually gone all the way. But Eurofish shoots about 2 seconds too early. And yeah, that's always going to be a gamble with the M40, M43. It's very inaccurate artillery piece. A lot of damage, but you also have got the payoff of inaccuracy and slower aim down time. Gets unlucky, but it's still 4-2 towards Kazna crew. They just need to win one of these next 2 rounds. But this is the danger zone, right? Kazna versus Wombats. Last time they played, 2-0 to Wombats on this map.
Yep, that was very, very recently as well. So Kazna crew haven't had a lot of time to change their tact, as it were. We'll see what they bring for us now. Of course, double 113 for the Wombats as they do push on forward. Double T10 as well, really padding out their health point total quite nicely. And still Kazna using Eurofish in that artillery. That's all they want to do. They just want to make as much use of him as they possibly can. Wombats have been very, very good on this map recently. They definitely would consider it one of their home grounds. We'll see if Kazna can actually kick them out, evict them, as it were.
Coca-Cola, Bishop actually starting to go up, and Eurofish not really in the right position, but he's going to try and make the shot here. If he can land it, it will be a big advantage. And of course, the M40 does go short. It's a very hard tank to use, and shot has come out. And that's made Wombats try and push forward here.
Wombats still get the hill, though. They can take this much damage and still be happy enough to get up there. Stefan really had to hit that last shot, and he didn't. And he has to actually back down the hill. And Breakneck might actually be able to exploit that now if he has the right angle. But Hyber is down as well in this lower part. They just spotted Breakneck now as well. He has a little bit of a moment here to have a few shots in towards Hyber and now in towards Stefan as well. Breakneck has to try and stay alive, and he just back up there as well. Love that aspect ratio. Nice flat bat chat for you guys.
That's why it's so good.
So yeah, it's it. Low profile tank. That's the way to go. So very, very close here, but there might be a bit of a push. Eurofish, that's a big hit towards Coca-Cola. Stefan and Nexus back up from that hillside as well. But Karitz and Coca-Cola have a great position to fire towards the island. There needs to be a counter push in a few moments from Kazna Crew to regain some position because they're just giving up all these spots. Stefan, this is very dangerous from the man. Karitz and Coca-Cola, though, too busy shooting Elian to see Stefan, and he comes up, but Elian has nowhere to go right now, and he goes down.
Yeah, Elian needed to go forwards, but Kosok has actually tracked their users a repair kit, and it's not looking good for Kazna Crew. They lost Elian to a fantastic push from Coca-Cola. Stefan also in that poor position, and he probably won't be able to survive for much longer.
He literally just saw his teammate die there. So what does he do? He decides to head over there himself. Oh, I better go and shore up this position. Anyway, he goes there, doesn't really work out, and Stefan now down to a one-shot. He was full health when he crossed over. That was a weird move. I guess he was just trying to help out and shoot at those tanks on the hill, but the man's lucky to be alive right now, and even Hyber as well can't do too much from his position.
Yeah, Povel might just try and get a few blind shots across. And yeah, Kazna Crew now 1,000 hit points behind. Of course, Wombats have come back from such a deficit a couple of times before. Kusok now going forward to try and get the kill. Karitz finds it anyway. Stefan goes down, and now Kazna Crew are down 2 tanks in this first crucial round. Hyber also in a bad position. I feel like Kazna Crew really trying to hold on for as long as they can, but I mean, the pressure Kusok's putting on in that 113 is absolutely phenomenal. And Eurofish unable to really make a big effect. Does do a bit of damage in that one, which has brought his team even, at least in terms of hit points.
Disgraceful push from Stefan will cost him his life, and he and Elian both dying within very close proximity to one another. And Wombats still have 7 tanks to work with here. Big advantage. Kusok perched up on ledge here. More than happy to be here if he can spot out Kazna Crew. He knows Kazna Crew are keeping their heads down right now, so he doesn't really mind being here. Breakneck, though, takes some shots from Vetso. Vetso reveals himself by firing. Breakneck actually wants to take the duel against him, but that one goes into the tracks here. Is Vetso just waiting for another peek? But there's shots coming in from elsewhere on the map as well. Wombats have it all locked down.
Yeah, they have it every single angle. And Vetso's going to go and reload, but the artillery might come out any second now, and Vetso gets taken down by Karitz in that T10. And the Breaknecks might get taken down, but gets unlucky there. Eurofish doesn't quite manage to land a shot. And again, that M40, M43 accuracy really punishing Kazna Crew when they're trying to make their way back in the game. Nexus and Hyber and those 2 tier 10s trying to creep their way up and towards this top part of the map. But Breakneck is on the side in the back chat. He's coming on the flank, and Just Cause is there in the TVP.
So now we're starting to see why Kazna Crew lost 0-2 to Wombats last time. I mean, this is not a bad map for Kazna. Wombats are just really good on it. And well, you can see that Wombats baited Kazna into overly prioritizing that Western Island. They just thrashed them as a result. And then Nexus, this is the thing. Why would you push up here when you know the enemy team has the hill? I know you're going to try and do something, but Just Cause has been sat there waiting for his chance to fire on any tanks pushing up. Eurofish now has to do something, has to try at the very least, but again, artillery has been the bane of him. He did hit on towards Kusok, a good 1k hit, but there's a lot more of a deficit than that to make up.
Yeah, Nexus is just taking a beating right now, and it's only a matter of time. I feel like Just Cause on the hill, once he comes off reload, it could be very bad news, and Nexus trying to do as much as he can, but Just Cause only a few seconds away.
Yeah, he's just going to start banging the shots in one after another. Hyber is caught, I think, with his hull side towards Just Cause, so you can actually penetrate that relatively easily from the side. Hyber just has to hedge his bets. Who does he angle towards? Does he come forward? Nexus doesn't seem to think so as he heads back down now in towards the channel. Maybe hoping to take advantage of a long reload cycle, a Breakneck, but that man's going to be off reload and more than happy to have Nexus for lunch the second he shows himself.
And Eurofish is already spotted, I think. Yeah, he's going to go down to Breakneck, no problem at all. That M40 pretty big as well. And Breakneck has the reload to take down Nexus.
Easy enough. He finds a little weak spot there as well. Picks up the that FV, and there's only Isne and Hyber left, and it's a sad, sorry story for Kazna right now in this map as Wombats really exploiting them on mines. I mean, it's still match point, Ollie, but barely.
Yeah, they've only got one more round to play around with. They've fluffed that last one on Cliff, but this is exactly why we love this game. I mean, back and forwards between these two teams. Pretty close game. I mean, HP is in favor of Wombats, but they got such a big advantage at the beginning, and I have to say, I mean, Eurofish hasn't paid off, at least in those early stages when Kazna Crew need it in this in these last 2 matches.
Eurofish would have benefited far more from like a more standard game state, I guess, on this map, where maybe you're contesting the hill. But Kazna couldn't contest the hill, or at least they didn't. They favored the island so much, and that was where they died. So really, not a great opening from them at all. Wombats only losing 1 tank, looking very, very good right now. And it is match point still, of course, but I mean, is this really going to happen, Ollie? Are Kazna going to get here by winning 3 games in a row from a losing position and then lose 3 in a row and send it to overtime?
I don't know, it just depends on them. I mean, now Kazna Crew are doing the reverse sweep where they've thrown 2 rounds, or at least thrown 1 round on Cliff, and I think that one Wombats just played really well. I mean, for instance, they came forwards, played it perfectly. You know, with Just Cause on the hill, it's so hard to keep control of any of those lower areas because he can just peek around. And Stefan did only about 560 damage. That TVP is not going to be able to kill another TVP anyway. And, you know, once that happened, the T10s push forwards. And that's the biggest play for Wombats. Those T10s pushing forwards into that defilade, because no one was there on the right side for Kazna crew, those T10s had so much pressure over and towards that left lighthouse island. And they just started to dominate. I mean, Just Cause had a fantastic round in the TVP. Breakneck as well on the back chat in that little plateau area. You know, Wombats came from every angle.
Yeah, I mean, we'd show you a replay of that match, but it was pretty much lost within the first minute or so there. And, you know, Stefan was the man who pushed himself towards that island for what I can only assume was an attempt to bail out his mate Ilian, but he died in much the same fashion here. Disappointing, to say the very least. Breakneck, he's used to that position up the top there, 4.7k damage. Strong from him and Just Cause as well. Usually that is the 1 and 2 for Wombats, and you know they're doing well if they let those players off the chain and go nuts. Eurofish did a good amount of damage, but when your Arties are top damage by at least double, not a great sign for the rest of your team.
Yeah, and he did 1,006 damage at the end.
One shot where it didn't matter.
Basically didn't matter at that point. Maybe Wombats would have been able to come back from such a deficit, but Kansas Crew certainly couldn't. And yeah, I mean, that's how the cookie crumbles. I mean, Bishop doing 0 damage, Kusok doing 0 damage, but because the rest of the tanks for Wombats had such a big presence in this game, it didn't even make any difference.
Mate, he could have done a Coca-Cola, just put his chair back, shut his eyes for a bit, and asked the boys to wake him up after the round. Kazna just weren't, well, pretty much not even present in that one.
No, for sure. It was an interesting one. I think they were going for a bit of a later game, whereas Wombats were going for an earlier game. I think Kazna wanted to push that 0 line. But I mean, it's always hard when you play around that left side and you have the T10s going forwards. Those T10s stayed back. Kazna crew could control their half of the map. Those T10s didn't push forwards, got map control. Fantastic stuff for Wombat. So, yeah, I mean, 4-3. It was 4-2 at some point.
Was 4-1 at one point.
It was 4-1 at one point. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Cliff and, yeah, of course, mine. So now Kazna crew having a chance to defend. Again, Eurofish playing the artillery piece. And again, actually this time, interesting, Lorraine's going for Kusok in this match.
So you see Lorraine on mines. Ollie, do you really think it's going to stay at the back, or do you reckon we're going to see from Wombats what Ding tried to do and send that towards the island on the west and set up for good shots towards the middle?
I think it would stay at the back. Makes no sense to go over towards the left side. It depends. I mean, Eurofish can either go to the left side at the beginning, which probably you could cause him to get caught out. Obviously, you know, you can get on the hill pretty quickly if you're on the attacking side or on Cliff or mines. Or will he stay on that right side to try and go for the early damage? Of course, with 40 seconds reload, probably better to go for the early damage, but he's actually going left because I'm a noob. Breakneck Povel pushing the hill with the TVPs.
Yeah, and remember, they're off reload far quicker than those bat chats, and they're going to be able to start firing right about now. Kazna crew, it's an oversight from them. They should know exactly what they're getting themselves into when they go towards this hill. At least there was a TVP of Stefan there who was able to punish Breakneck, but he just backs up, and now the 113s move forward. Kazna crew losing their star players so early. Eurofish get counter-batteried out by Kusok. Bad news for Kazna.
Very bad news. Just Cause coming from behind, and Kazna crew trying to get back from the deficit. They have a little time to play around with because Just Cause is on the flank with the Lorraine.
I don't know, man. This is just rough, and that is Just Cause getting in there as well, doing some serious damage, and the TVP can't even turn his head. He doesn't even know what's going on now. Shot after shot comes in, and Just Cause gets the finish. Stefan goes down. He's got one left as well as a parting gift from Russia with love, and Wombats are sending this one to a tiebreaker.
It's going to be a tiebreaker 100% of the time. I mean, Kazna crew going with the gamble with Ilian on the hill, and it didn't work out. Kazna crew throwing now 3 rounds in a row against Wombats, and what a round that was by Wombats, just playing it perfectly, pushing the 113s forwards. Kusok taking down Eurofish. I mean, Eurofish was the only man who could have got them back from the brink. It's going to be Wombats to bring it 3 rounds in a row, 4-4.
I reckon it was blind fire as well. I don't see how anyone could have spotted Eurofish.
I mean, there's only a couple of positions where Eurofish could have been in.
Yep.
And the Lorraine, at the beginning, when Kazna crew were like sitting back a little bit, he had a little bit of time to make the shot, and he's only going to wait 25 seconds.
Here it is. They call tiebreaker on the desk, Ollie. We are going to have one here. A repeat of what we saw last time around here. And I think Cliff is our tiebreaker, Ollie. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So going to be very, very interesting to see who got the right side. I thought Kazna generally opened up better on Cliff. They just kind of threw it. So I wouldn't be feeling too bad if I was them, but we said the same thing about Prohorovka back when these two teams went head-to-head towards the end of the season. I'm glad this game delivered. It's going to be, a 5-0 to start things off, and then, of course, a 5-4, keeping it nice and hot up here in the ESL arena. Both teams as well. Coca-Cola being passed around, and, of course, its namesake as well. A couple drinks there, of course. And look, really, this is fantastic stuff from Watt. Their strength of constitution is the reason why they're one of the best teams here. Getting those 3 rounds back in a row. Kazna now, if there's anyone we're worried about tilting, it's always going to be them.
Yeah, I mean, they had the second round on Prokhorovka they should have won, and that last round on Cliff they should have won. The two mines rounds kind of cancel each other out because Kazna won the two rounds on steps. So you got 2 mines versus 2 steps, both teams winning on the favored maps, etc., etc. So I mean, Kazna they need to stabilize themselves. The biggest boon for Kazna is the fact that they had the initial plays, they made it work. The biggest problem for them is that they lost the last 3 rounds. Wombats have the momentum going forwards, and the adrenaline will be kicking in, having all sorts of after effects on both teams. But of course, Wombats will have less of that. And yeah, I mean, at the beginning, Elian goes forwards. Of course, Pavel, Breakneck have the TVP reload first, and they can kill Elian very quickly.
Just why? Like, you know this. You're not dumb. You weren't born yesterday. You know
it's a gamble. I mean, you have to gamble at some point. Like, if you get the hill at the beginning with a backjack, which is an unusual move, you have a massive advantage. And they could actually come back from this situation right now. You can see it. But Eurofish gets spotted, as you can see down south, and he gets killed by
Just Cause.
Husok.
Actually, Just Cause taking a different route there. Notice he crossed across instead of going straight to the south, and that's probably what let him see Eurofish there as well.
Yeah, and I think, if Kazna wanted to win this one, they should have already pushed Nexus and Vetso up, the T110s across, and send Stefan around the side with the TVP, because they were down 2, but they could still get a pretty even fight in the middle because Just Cause was down.
And this right here is the position that everyone wants to be in as an all-loader player. Just banging shots in. That's Stefan there as well. He's so preoccupied by what's happening in front of him, fair enough, by the way, that he just doesn't see Just Cause come up and put every single shot in. And of course, you're going to get the finish, even one for Hyber as well as a parting gift, and then he backs up. Hyber, by that point, Isnet was, sorry, already so damn low. Kazna lost in every single facet of that round. And yeah, sure, you got to take a gamble going towards the hill, but double TVP, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the TVP and Batchat, especially when the shots are coming in. Elian didn't even know what hit him.
No, he had absolutely no idea. Great round by Wombats. They deserve to be in this position right now where they've come back from a massive deficit. And yeah, I mean, Kazna 4-1 now to a 4-4. It's going to be Wombats on the defensive side, on Cliff having the faster attacking round, which of course dictates which side you go on the tiebreaker. Not really consequential damage stats considering it's such a quick round. Breakneck at the top with that TVP did most of the damage towards Elian at the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the flank coming through as well from Just Cause was pretty darn important. Eurofish got spotted out. It's your worst nightmare as artillery to be counter-batteried, and Kusok just made an absolute mincemeat of him there. It's interesting that Kazna persisting, obviously, with Eurofish in that artillery, of course. Yeah. It's not like online. You can't just like sub someone in like that in between rounds. It's not so simple to do here as well, especially once you're sat down, you've got your own gear there as well. You've just got to stick with it. So that might have hedged Kazna into that if they don't want to use Eurofish for any other sort of role. We've seen good games from him. We've seen shockers from him. That one, unfortunately, maybe not so much even his fault, as it was, I think, Just Cause who took a different route as he crossed down from north to south, actually lighting that artillery piece up there. So that was quite important. That
was apparently the fastest round of the season.
Really?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, if you think about it, everything was tied up in a nice little bow. You had the peripheral player of Eurofish and the artillery getting killed. Yeah. You had Just Cause around the side, and you had the kill at the beginning very fast. And then you had the whole of Kazna in the middle getting absolutely wrecked. So very, very quick round from Wombats. Man, this is what I love. I mean, I don't care who wins this next round. I don't care. I mean, Wombats deserve it because they got such a massive comeback. But Kazna also deserve it because they got such a massive lead. I mean,
they wouldn't have been here in the first place if they didn't.
And then we got Cliff, which is, it's one of the most balanced maps because it's a bit of a gamble. Like if you go left, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, as I've already described. Obviously, we just saw both teams got 1 round apiece. Kazna won it on the defensive side, lost it on the attacking side. And that's the thing. Kazna definitely worse on the attack. Against Oops, against Wombats, against every team. Yep. So good decision by Wombats, for sure.
And, you know, it's possible that Kazna will just sit back off this one and not maybe go forward so much. It was the attacking side of Cliff that they lost to Wombats and Tanks just now. So that's still sitting on your head like, we need to come up with something different. And Kazna Crew, it was a brilliant steps. It really, really was. But Cliff, I mean, unfortunate timing for them is kind of what let them down. They opened up well. That's the thing. If things didn't go south for the winner very, very quickly for them, they might have been okay there. And Prohorovka as well, the 1-1 for them is, you know, a bit contentious. I don't really know what to put forward on that one. The point is that we have our tiebreaker. We have our 5-4. The desk predictions, for the most part, have been right, but a lot of them predicted a 5-4 for Kazna Crew here. Although I have to feel like, in terms of momentum, in terms of energy, in terms of the way this game's been going, they're on the back foot. But there's only one way to find out who's going to come on top, who is going to be our second grand finalist to go up against Tornado Rocks. We'll find out right about now, and Cliff is our final battlefield for this best of 9.
As we said, Wombats are on the defensive side, Kazna Crew on the attack. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a round. Kazna Crew obviously being 3 rounds down a row, probably a little bit of a moral deficit. But they should, if they really deserve to be in the finals, they definitely should be able to come back and be able to stabilize a little.
And the bat chat's been snuck through here from High, but this could be quite dangerous. Oh, God, Milan pushing forward there in the bat chat. Does get hit pretty badly. And look at this. Look at Wombats descending upon him. He's going to be toast in a couple seconds.
Yeah, he is going to be toast. Let's see, he actually doesn't peak at the right time. And Kazna Crew just trying to play it. And Eurofish has already done that shot. Hyber doesn't even expect this.
He gets completely melted down. Pobble comes forward. He's the one who gets the killing blow. And for some reason, Hyper wanted to go forward on his own. The firing squad was ready for him. And then the rest of the Batchats jumped right on him as well. Kazna Crew now go into this one tank behind. And I tell you what, this is not a small health point deficit at all. Easily pushing forward into the middle. Kazna hope to control the hill at the very least. But remember, it was Wombats getting themselves out of this certain situation with a well-timed push. We need to see the same thing from Kazna, but our Wombats have the chance to spread themselves out, get themselves set up. Spots are coming out here as well. And you can see the Vetso now trying to duke it out as much as he can. Kusok having fired, he's on reload at this stage. Wombats have so much control of this map.
Yeah, Eurofish has to try and stay alive, and Elian is there to try and provide support, and maybe even Wombats just want to take down Elian at this point in time. I'm not quite sure what they want to do there, but yeah, it has to be all about Eurofish, and I think that was actually a Vetso shot, and see what you can do here. Obviously, you know, at this point in time, Kazna Crew have a massive deficit. They lost that bat chat. Not sure exactly what they want to try and do. That bat chat up north has been spotted. But I mean, the thing is, Kazna can't spot any of these tanks. None at all.
Easily, they're very, very lucky not to take more damage than he otherwise would have, but he's going to get jumped on again. He's so far forward from the rest of his team. He went forward to try and get spots, and he gets picked up again. Kazna Crew throwing this game away, tank by tank. Stefan gets tracked up in position, has to back away. There's a good shot coming in from Eurofish. Repair kit used for Stefan. He gets away, but he's beaten, battered, bruised, and bloodied.
But Coca-Cola's being super aggressive here, but Nexus is going to get caught out by Kusok in the next shot. Yes, he does. He hits the shell perfectly. And this is suddenly going very badly for Kazna Crew there. 3,000 hit points behind, and they only have themselves to blame. Stefan off reload, Coca-Cola going hunting.
They had this opportunity in the palm of their hands, and now Kazna has squandered it. They've left it up against the wall here. Stefan goes down. The push forward from Coca-Cola was good, and Vetso taking more free damage as well. He tried to get onto Coca-Cola. He can't. There's only 2 tanks left. Elian now trying to hold on, but there's nothing he can do without the teammates to help him out. Eurofish did make a decent shot this round, but it's not enough. And that really is a good way to put the entire performance from Kazna Crew in the last 4 rounds. Not enough. They lose 4 rounds in a row from match point. They were 4-1 up, and now they're going to lose it, and they're going to be knocked out, and it's going to be Wombats on Tanks move into the grand finals against Tornado Rocks. We have a rematch of the Continental Rumble.
Unbelievable stuff from Wombats. I mean, it really does take something special to come back from such a massive deficit. They deserve that win, and Kazna Crew deserved the loss. They were... I mean, they just defeated themselves. There were so many rounds there which Wombats should have won. They simply didn't manage to do it. And, you know, they did manage in the end, of course. Kazna Crew, second round of Prokhorovka, probably the easiest win they could have made there. I mean, Kazna were almost at 1.4 ahead. But this is what Wombats tanks to do. They come back from deficits. They manage to win the rounds. Fantastic work from those boys.
Kazna Crew, shame, shame, shame. They'd have their heads in their hands right now. The shake of the head from Stefan. They were so close. It was in their grasp. The shot at another European championship. And although Stefan said that Kazna are the real European champions, they won't even have the chance to fight for that title. 4-1. No one in this room will be angrier than them right now. They definitely threw it all away in the last few moments. My God, what a way to do it. In spectacular style. No one can lose a game like Kazna can, especially when they're ahead.
Yeah, we can have a look at the basically the closing stages right at the beginning. Hyber playing really aggressive towards the left side, and yeah, I mean, this is what Wombats did. I think they trained for. Think they trained for this tiebreaker. I think they probably guessed that Kazakru and the match against these two would be very close, and this would go to a 4-4. They trained it, and they saw Hyber going down. They knew they could take him down easily with the bat chats. There's no one there from Kazakru. They actually thought maybe Wombats would do the same thing twice. Hyber went down. There's no reply there from Eurofish. Eurofish had already shot towards Just Cause. Game over here. Wombats take down Hyber. They got a tier 10 advantage. And yeah, I mean, Kazna, what can we say? They got in towards the finals because of a 5-round comeback.
Yep.
And they actually managed to lose it with a 4-round comeback.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. And what goes around definitely does come around. I don't even know why Hybe was there on his own. Perhaps a bait towards that part of the map and let the rest of Kazna maybe even push around on the far eastern side. But there you have it. Let's have a look at the damage now as well. As Just Cause up the top again. Bishop even up there as well. I mean, all that early damage being done. The Batchat squad just jumping on top of Kazna crew just left them in tatters.
Yeah, not good stuff at all. And yeah, I mean, Mines probably was where Kazna crew definitely has some improvements to be made in the future. I think they, shouldn't have lost 2 rounds in a row. Wombats played perfectly. I mean, the thing is, at the end there, Kazna crew were gambling every single round. At the beginning, they were playing a little bit more standardly. They obviously were, thinking that they could, get huge leaps and bounds. And this is the thing. I think, apart from that last round and maybe one or other, Wombats should play pretty standard stuff. Almost every single round, Kazna crew were trying to make it happen. But I mean, once you come back from such a deficit, and once you lose to such an advantage, you only deserve to walk away in 3rd, 4th place. Kazna crew going down. It's a single elimination bracket, so Ding, Kazna crew share that 3rd, 4th place spot, and it's going to be a Tornado Rocks Wombats finals.
And again, Alien up towards the top of the damage countback, but like so many times before, it didn't make the difference for Kazna crew here. Breakneck and Just Cause again, the 1 and 2, we like to say, for the Wombats on tanks. Beautiful stuff from them. Coca-Cola woke up eventually and really, really got firing towards the bottom there as well. I mean, Hyber, 7K. Yeah, I don't really want to point fingers here, but Karit's, playing. This is the problem, right? Isday was playing the RU251 quite a lot. Hyber was in the Batchat a few rounds. Both of those rounds he played Batchat, and they were both cliff rounds. He got absolutely decimated.
Yeah, for sure. And even Bishop not having not a great round there. So, I mean, it was a bit of a bi-directional map in terms of the way the teams played it, because I think, Wombats, through some games, played pretty badly,
sure.
And Kazna crew also. I mean, at the end, I think it's pretty obvious that Wombats, Kazna crew lost because they had started tilting, to the point of no return. And I think, when you talk to Wombats, they're a lot more sturdy-faced. They don't really show any emotion. I think that definitely helps them in this game, where if you do start losing those rounds in 768, where they can just go back to back to back, only 2 rounds per map, things can go from bad to worse pretty quickly. It's a very slippery slope indeed.
That it is, my friend. That it is. Kazna crew have been eliminated now, and we're going to be crossing back over towards our expert desk to break this one down bit by bit. Take it away, Luke.
Okay, Kazna fans, with me, go to your happy place. Go to your happy place. 4-1 up. 5 losses in a row. Let's start at the beginning of the story where it's more of a happy place. Let's go to the map. Number 1, we are on Prokhorovka. The first battle starts. Kazna on the attack.
Defense.
First thing happens is Just Cause is wrecked on the far side of the map. So let's go through this map.
Well, Kazna took a setup that's usually used to push the village, but they kind of did a surprise for them and pressed the middle immediately. Just Cause was doing default spot in the woods, but as the moment he got spotted, you can see this, I'm gonna say again, disgusting TVPs at action and other tanks. I can call actually this match between them gone in 60 seconds, because there were several games that some guy died in first 60 seconds and decided the entire map immediately. Like, bye. But
bang, rinse the replay. That's it, GG. The rest of the map goes as predicted. Kazna crew push up and they successively
it's
pace out
generally
the
mop-up operation without any cock-ups like later games.
Yeah. It goes standard. Exeter, anything to add?
No, the back chat getting caught out at the start kind of surprised everyone, and we could see that immediately that was going to have a huge impact on the rest of the battle.
So on to the next one. Game number 2, it's a bit more, I don't know, much more complicated. The next game on the same map, Prokhorovka, we have the reverse situation. This time, they're on the eastern flank. We have Ilyans and, you're going to have to pronounce his name for me again.
Izny.
Izny, that's how you pronounce his name, Izny. We're now with them on the southeast. They're taking the hill, and this is where it goes wrong. I believe we have that replay coming up in a second, but take us through. You said to us that the actual biggest mistake was the...
Wombats again took a huge number of STBs. They're the medium with the biggest gun depression in a game, minus 10 degrees. But Kazna played really heavy setup of 113s, which is current meta. That's a heavy tank that goes 50 km/h, really, really fast. And they put Hybe in that forward position like a bait while they were taking the village side, and they pressed the Ru, Izny, and Ilyan, their top aggressive player in a team, I would say, on a hill. So you can see here where they chased away Breakneck, who was holding the flank for Virtus. That was really actually a moment when they won this game. They really won it here. You can see huge health advantage, read of the game. They had crossfires. Everything went for them. It was a huge success. It was 2-0. You could see it. Breakneck was in reload. He had to run away for his life. And he's very good at that, I might add. So he hit down in lake. And this is the moment where the game broke. They kept thinking, oh, we might kill Breakneck, or shall we not? Should we? Shall we not? And you could see like a gap of 10-15 seconds, and then they decided Izny should go and spot other mediums. But Wombats were already reacting, they were already popping, and they just caught in midfield. They lost eyes, and then they literally lost one-on-one gameplay. Stefan wasted HP in the village. Vetso lost a lot of HP before that because he got double-checked. And it was just a cascade reaction, cascade downfall. And it was 1-1, and it should have been 2-0, and eventually, as we saw, they actually could have won 5-0. But
actually, on that exact note, Roffelkopter himself said when it was on the 5th map, that feeling when it should have been 5-0.
Yeah,
at that moment.
That's exactly that.
But this is where we were all on the desk going, that was their advantage map. I think Hector was talking about this was their advantage map. They should have been 2-0 at this point because statistically the other maps were a bit weaker for Kazna.
Kazna were the one that were shown as more favourite on past results. Prokhorovka, it looked like a map that they were going to be more commanding on compared to Wombats. But the way the match kind of threw out with that situation, the back chat held off the 2 tanks, and you could just see the hesitation. And they had the advantage there. It looked like it was going to be 2-0. And then that allowed Wombats to get back in the game.
Yep, it's just what it was. But then the next thing that came along was Steps. So Steps, this was a match up for grabs. We didn't know what had happened, and Kazna was defending. So on this one, we were talking about it right at the time it happened, that Coca-Cola was up in his batched up in the hill, and we were like, is he sacrificing himself? And then they're going for the cap. And this was like, oh, they're in danger. They're not focusing on the cap enough, right?
Yeah, the cap, that was the one with the artillery in the cap zone as well.
The reset.
Mojo was explaining to me that as it was coming in. The way the positioning of the artillery was so that you could know that the 2 tanks are lining up behind it. So if you're getting the shot in, it was going to hit it and reset. So the minute it does, it comes in. It's a great shot that comes in from Eurofish. And then the other tanks then have to immediately run. That was, Mojo was saying, that was at the time that they
literally see he's not even aiming Arty.
Yeah, he's looking past them, the Arty takes the shot. And then that was it. That was their chance to win goes. And then they've got to be like, we're out of here, boys, like.
Oh. This is 2 times he killed Kusuk in Arty in this match.
Yeah, that was it. That was the reset that they were nervous about. But I guess we were nervous about it. You wasn't. They had planned for this. They knew exactly what was going on.
They played really aggressive, pushing from the north to south with all tanks. And basically they caught out Coca-Cola. I think if Wombats had maybe 15 seconds more, they would probably be in position to support him and annihilate him. But it was really fast, really uber aggressive. They read the game, and Wombats were forced to try to cap. But contingency was in there, and Arty strike came.
So they had planned for this. Kazna was like, okay, if we do this, they'll do this, we'll do this, we've won.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. But then in the next battle, now this is utterly when cheese fails. Now, I don't know if you guys were around when this was. If you had missed this moment, It looks like the Wombats are going for some utter cheese, but look at the Batchat positions, Mojo.
And this is a choo-choo train. This is standard position to climb a guy who would reset and control the field from there, so they could just drive around. But you can see probably Ilian's aggressive call, that you see that green dot in the enemy area, that's forward. He's like spotting them, and their quad pens down. Artie just chose to splash the other guys, but Izni and Ilian are wrecking Kusok here. Look at this, like he's gonna get caught here. Like,
say that again, wrecking. Wow, and that's it. This was it. There was too much damage here.
hey, there's nothing to do after this.
Yeah. The shots coming in was beautiful. I mean, we were hoping for maybe an arty splash on the train of tanks, but they just managed to pull back just in time. But then the Batchats were in a beautiful position, and they just unloaded on them.
Yeah, I think I just screamed at that point. I was like, whoa, it's like GG right there. And this now 3-1, a complete surprise that Kazna won both on steps, like utterly won them. It wasn't even close. Statistically, that was actually slightly unusual. Was that actually planned?
I think steps could have gone either way, but I wasn't really expecting Kazna to come out on top like as commanding as they did. Like I think beforehand you had Ollie and Mitch saying, you know, like it's maybe Kazna were going to be a bit ropey on steps, but
No.
they turned up like it was like, you know, this is our territory, you know. It was like
They knew everything they were going to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, done. Step 1, step 2, step 3, done. They were so planned for it. But then they're still ahead. They're going to go even more ahead. That's what you have to do, right? So then we're going on Cliff, and the first game was the whole game. The whole game was amazing. So the start was all the Batchats and TVPs going straight into the action here. Take us through it. This is just amazing start.
Well, we can see a full Clipper setup by Wombats, and they're going straight for the middle, and they just send Rue as the fastest tank. He goes 70 plus kilometers south, so he doesn't get caught by any chance. Kazna has a bit heavier setup, 2-1-1-3s and fish in RT, so they have a lot of single shooters and some Clippers. So their goal here is to survive first 60 seconds without getting killed, and if that happens, then Kazna wins.
So many clicks this game.
You can see Clippers, how they were gaining ground here. The only real problem for them was Kusok up there, but eventually he had to run off the shots. Like Batchats, when they already fall on 2 or 3 shots, they're in a problem because they have to think about reload. Reload is like 38 seconds out of the fight. TVPs are a different story. They're like 22-3 seconds. But they cannot survive alone. And you can see here, Batchats are in reload or on low shells, Just Cause gets caught, and it's like a domino falling now. They just fall one by one, tuck, 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 and it's over. Kazna knows when to bite when this happens.
Hector, anything to add?
yeah, from this one it was 4-1 then Kazna. And you could see from the players, like Wombats looked dejected. We're like, okay, is this Wombats on tilt? Is Kazna going to 5-1? Are we going to get the predictions completely wrong?
This is when Roffelkopter was saying they should have done it now.
I was there for the taking. We're still, if they'd just got that previous one on Prokhorovka, they could have had the 5-0, and nobody would have got that one.
So that was the end of the game, and it was 4-1 to Kazna, and they won, and they went through to the next game, right? That's what happened.
And then
Ellie?
the cookie crumbled.
That's exactly what happened, right? 4-1, and that was it. They won and went through.
I'm not going to say anything about that match because I already ruined it as announced beforehand, because it's been like this the whole season. Every time the two casters force me to give in a prediction, which is pretty much obvious, or, well, I'm not saying that it was obvious in this case, but just back in the season, it always went the other way around. It always.
It's a curse of...
I think I also said that Tornado Rocks will smash Ding, and that's why it went... Exactly.
Beware.
So it's your fault.
No, it's
you
your fault.
forced me.
You said you would curse it, so that's your
You should have
fault.
reversed it. You should have just lied. See? You gotta do that.
Yeah, that's me trying to be honest all the time. What you get from that, people? No, of course not. Honesty is a good quality, and you should definitely keep that. People, thank you for getting involved in that voting. It ended with a pretty high number for Kazna Crew, 72%. So the community was wrong. Community was hoping, and the audience in Twitch chat also are like, Kazna is definitely going to do this. Kazna is definitely going to win. And look what happened. Well done.
It's all our
No,
fault.
just kidding. Congratulations to Wombats on Tanks. Very well earned. I mean, coming back from that, I don't think that ever happened before, to be honest, in the season. 4-0 deficit.
When it was 4 straight games. I mean, we got our 5-4, but it wasn't how we expected it.
It was 5 games in a row next, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
No, it didn't happen before. But as said, thank you very much for getting involved. The next vote is already up, and it's between these two guys.
Tornado Rocks and Wombat.
I love the little wombat sitting on the tank. Look at this. It has a baby wombat as well. See that? Baby wombat. Like, wombats are really cute.
Right, so now
Like
we're...
the animals. Our wombats as well.
Right, well, we're at the top of the cliff. We're at the top of peak happiness. Everyone's having a jolly time, especially the audience who are much in the favor of Kazna. But then things start going wrong. So the next game, it was still on cliff here, I believe. And when the second game, in the first 1 minute again, is what happens. Cliff is a very quick map.
Well, this was a really interesting game for me. Everyone took Clipper lineups, and Kazan had Fishy on RT again. Wombats expected Kazna to push middle, and they will have a brawl and probably upper hand because they have a Clipper more. But Kazna actually played them in that hand. They said only Izni on G4 position. You can see a 4 or Bacha there alone. He was spotting them all the time while they had TVPs and Bacha set up for crossfire. Huge amount of damage came. And I would say this was a bit of a beginning of a taste of things to come. Iron Jesus was really against the Tarty in this game. You could see Fishy really aiming for 2 guys. The shot should have went in a center, but it just did 200-300 splash. I was expecting a 1 shot.
Yeah, it went right over and we were screaming for it because we were
and
hoping
after
it was going
that,
to land.
cascade of bad decisions, they decided to push this right side, separated from their tanks on the left, and got annihilated by crossfire.
Alien didn't fire, Hyber didn't fire, Ved's still got 1
3
shot off.
tanks.
Yeah.
3.
Gone.
And Stefan as well, he doesn't
Gone.
fire either. That's 4 tanks, 1 shot from 4 of them, autoloaders. It was, oh no, Stefan got 2. Okay, he actually got 2 shots off.
They practically wasted the entire team and got 1 guy.
Yeah, there's no focus at all. They came out and there's like, who do we shoot? And there's like nothing. It was like...
There was nothing to shoot, that was the problem. There was only 1 guy they saw.
Great positions, but that's exactly how Wombats work. They are much better at setting the trap and getting you to look, They won the first game there in Prokhorovka that way when they won their first round. Their defense, I believe it was. Oh, no, their attack. They did it from the exact same thing. They managed to get the attention split of Kazna, and we're going to see that repeat over and over again. This is exactly what starts happening here as we move on to the next one, which is Mines. So Mines, Ealing gets caught out right at the start. They go up the hill. I believe it was Mitch and Ali both saying, no, you can't do it because TVPs will... they're going to reload faster. They're going to catch him out. And the first shot, of course, they're tracking. And he's in the open. He repairs, but by the time he gets his speed back up, he's dead.
That was such a karmic return for Just Cause's death, I would say. Really, really horrible moment for Kazna because they completely relied on RT play and getting the hill. They knew Fishy will dominate Kusuk. He is better RT player. He even traced in here, as you can see. He knew Kusuk will hide behind that rock on that little hill. That was so expected and seen. But things happen, and we can see here Just Cause even unseen came from the back and clip them entirely. You can play a violin here, literally, and like they don't even know what's going on at this moment. This is really, really horrible.
A dream moment if you're an autoloader to get round behind a team like this and have nobody turn and look at you as you can clip away into somebody.
Do you know what? I'm not a good player by any means, but I always try to do this on Mines. I always try and get around the back in a normal game. Get around the back and just unload into the back of them as much as I can. It's that moment you want. Okay, it only works 1 in 100 games, but you know, the one time it does, you remember that moment, and that's exactly what happened. And it was yet another disaster. It was over in less than 2 minutes, I believe, and that was that. Then the next one was the same. That was Wombats on the defense.
This was actually the second game. The game before that was when Wombats were defending the game before that.
Okay, I got the other way around. And
potato.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. At this point, both the maps went, and it was just horrible the whole game, and it went down. I don't think we need to dissect it more than it was just outplayed. But one thing I will throw in at this point before we go to the decider match on Cliff is the Object 430 and the Object 140. These tanks are very similar, and for the people who haven't got that many tier 10s, it's just a number. What's the difference between these two tanks?
So Russians are the only line that have actually 3 mediums that are really similar and slightly different. So different between these two would be armor in the turret. 430 has 248 in turret and 140 has 240. And 140 has better gun depression for just 1 degree. And 430 has a bigger DPM than maybe a shot more in a minute. Than 140. So the differences are so slight, but when you're playing a hold-down position, you want 140, definitely. But if you want to go in a kind of a brawl, and even 430 is actually a medium with highest camo rating. So that's when you want that one, if you want to stick it in a cap.
Well, there we go. What about the tree to get to them? If guys at home are wondering, well, which one should I get? I can't get both.
You must get T54 and then you go on everything else.
Right, so let's go into Cliff and have a look. This is the decider. This was Wombats on defense because they had the fastest win, which means they get to pick which side they do. They obviously want to defend because that's when they won last time on Cliff. And then Hyber's coming up, and this is yet again what happens?
Well, this is a meta that's usually actually played. When you are having two TVPs, you push a Ru, as Wombats did, south to spot, and you put TVPs behind. Why? Because TVPs are the only clippers in the game that can reload fast enough to shoot someone climbing there. Hyber, I think this was really bad call by them. He went and he lost 2/3 of his HP, and while he was climbing, because info was already given to the rest of the Wombats, they just turned his entire team, finished him off, gained advantage of that tank, and, well, the rest was just a mop-up.
Yep. I think that's all I can say on that is yep.
We could say Kazna could have made a better crossfire like Wombats did, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They just didn't. They lost that middle engagement again.
With the autoloaders, they were just pretty much waiting on reloads, going out, picking a tank, wiping them out, reloading, picking another tank, wiping them out, and it was quite efficient from Wombat, but it was after Kazna being so far up and so close, it was hard to take.
It's all about morale at this point, isn't it?
I would say Kazna really had an upper hand, even were upper in tactics. So they were, in those aspects, which are really important, they were upper team. But you gotta give it to Wombats, mate. Like, there were so many games down. We saw their faces. They really looked bad, and yet still they had guts to pull it through till the end.
5 in a row. Oh, 4 in a row.
Four in a row,
4
but
wins
still.
in a row.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the players, it was a complete switch around, like from seeing how Wombats were when they were on the ropes and then seeing where Kazna were.
You can see Wombats, most of them are usually like really cold and not talking, and they were like, oh, yeah, we won.
Right, before we go into the next battle, which we know what it's going to be, but before we do that, Melly, how's things going?
Good so far. Thank you for asking. No, I just want to quickly remind our community of our amazing 5,000 gold giveaway, which happens every hour to our most helpful or most, well, outstanding or nicest, well, someone who actually gets caught by the eye of our mods as a nice and...
a chat contributor.
I'm
yeah,
nice.
exactly, a nice person to be in Twitch chat. And we also have already 2 hours passed after we announced our first winner, Hiram, and the second and third one for 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock are first... No, don't drum roll. Stop it. Ultra Kirk.
Ultra Kirk, congratulations.
And Hype 94.
Hype 94.
Yeah. Thanks for being in Twitch chat, and thanks for being nice and well-behaved. And people, well, it's almost half an hour until we choose the next one. So there's plenty of time to, well, get noticed by our amazing mods and maybe nominated for our next 5,000 gold batch.
Right, so we're out of time. We need to get on with this because the finals is coming up, unfortunately. So go vote on Facebook, get involved in the discussion. But that final battle is coming up. The first victors, Tornado Rock's amazing 5-0 performance. Wombats are in their stride after 4 victories. That is coming up very shortly. So get involved, get on Facebook, tweet at us, WGLEU, and we will be very soon into Tornado Rocks versus Wombats on tanks. Don't go anywhere.